Welcome back to Sports Talk on this Wednesday morning. Fanatic All-Star Day was absolutely a blast yesterday. Great to see a lot of our friends, Johnny, and great to see a lot of people vibing and having a good time listening to the shows yesterday. Not just with us, but also with Middays with Marks and Unfiltered. Again, shout out to Mike Vito for all that work that he put together. It was a really fun day yesterday, and we hope that a lot of you who joined us yesterday, maybe for the first time in a while, would like to stick around for a little bit. So
it was a great day yesterday. I was absolutely exhausted last night, though.
Bro,
completely exhausted.
I will tell you right now, fell asleep on the couch after the Sixers finished the first quarter, 45-27. My wife normally will wake me up and say, "Come up to bed." She knew how tired I was. She kind of just let me go. I woke up in the third quarter and I was like, "All right, let me finish this out." I wish you'd gone to bed. I wish she woke me up and brought me to bed.
Well, no. it got a little slow last night.
Yeah,
we'll get into that.
We will get into it.
A little slow and plotting last night.
But it was
a little slow and plotting last night.
Narrative.
It was there.
We'll get into it. But no, it was a really fun day yesterday.
Great day.
But back to reality. And yesterday was the NFL trade deadline. Now, as expected, no other moves were made for the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday, right? They made their move the day prior, trading the third-round pick for Jalen Phillips, and, the rest is history. You now know the roster moving forward. We'll see how it shakes out because we don't know about Adoree Jackson. We were talking to Andrew DeCecco yesterday during Fanatic All-Star Day, and I know he mentioned it on a couple of shows yesterday, that maybe the next couple of roster moves are subtractions because you're over the certain number that you can be at there. And you guys on IR, you got guys coming back like Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith. And so they're going to have to potentially cut some players. You don't know, like A.J. Dillon. What is his role now moving forward, right? So there's going to be bodies that are probably going to be released by the Philadelphia Eagles.
They already did one with Patrick Robinson.
Right, exactly.
Now, is that just to get him onto the practice squad, though?
Probably. You're going to hope that he gets down.
Yeah, because they released the player from the practice squad in addition to that move.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, but he's not on it yet, right? Or am I wrong?
Not yet. He's got to clear waivers.
He has to clear waivers. I got to wonder. He may be somebody that the amount of times that Howie poaches, I got to wonder if someone would poach him just to say,
"Screw you, Howie."
Or maybe intelligence.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But, we know that the deals are done. Trade deadline happened yesterday. It was a crazy day in the NFL, which we'll get to later on. But Jalen Phillips, the player that we mentioned, Howie Roseman had the first chance to speak post-trade deadline yesterday afternoon, and this was Howie on Phillips.
All these guys, the process starts with college. Spent a lot of time with him coming out of college, knowing the person. It's really easy to scout the player. He's got freak ability. He can rush. He can set the edge. He can play in space. He's got a nonstop motor. I think one of the most fun things to do is put on his tape and watch his effort. And when you have the athleticism and the physical ability he has with the effort he has, and then just going and seeing that he was Walter Payton Man of the Year in Miami, the things that he does in the community, comes from an unbelievable family. And then obviously Vic was with him. A lot of times when you're talking to your coaches and you have a vision of how the player is going to fit, you have to have those discussions. But that discussion was really easy. Coach Fangio, where we are as a team, what we believe in is important to winning a world championship and to being a great team. It really wasn't a hard trade to make.
So, Johnny, I know we've had debates, not like you and I debating, but a lot of people that have been listening to the show, we've debated about or discussed Howie Roseman's offseason, right, and how there were some questionable decisions, not bringing back some players that were on the cheap, moving on from some players where you go, I thought he was a part of the future, like an Isaiah Rodgers.
Right.
There were players on the D-line that you weren't going to bring back because of the paydays that Milton Williams and Josh Sweat got, but you were wondering, all right, how are you going to replace those players? And you really didn't, right? You drafted Ty Robinson in the 4th round, and you expected Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt to take those leaps forward or the next step forward. And you haven't really seen much of that. 1, because of Nolan Smith's injury. 2, maybe Jalix Hunt is better when Nolan Smith is on the other side. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll find out as this plays out. But I do want to start here before we start breaking down maybe some poor decisions from this past offseason. Do we realize, and I mean truly realize, how good we have it with this organization? And I mean as a whole. We just watched what went down in Dallas with the Cowboys, going back to before the season started, trading away Micah Parsons and the circus that was, to literally the circus leading up to the trade deadline. the day before, Jerry Jones talking about,
I have a trade.
I have a trade.
By the way, he did. He wasn't lying. He had
sure,
a trade.
but then after the game, he's saying, I didn't say that. We don't have a trade. It's like, well, you did say it. And to me, that's a circus where at some point, like, I can only imagine what a Cowboys fan, not that we care, goes through on a daily basis hearing Jerry Jones talk. We have the only drama that we have right now is A.J. Brown and cryptic tweets, right? Like, that's the only real drama that we have.
It is. It's a matter of whether your team is doing well or not. We had drama when the team wasn't doing well. Look, we're in a great period of time. Mm-hmm. It's a great time to be dropped in the middle of your Eagles fandom. And but it's just it is in the greatness. Then there's a level of sustaining and a level of expectation that then also comes into play that you didn't have before.
Right.
You didn't have the level of, okay, you're not supposed to slip after you win the Super Bowl terribly. You're not supposed to have, so it's like you have all these expectations of, well, let's sustain something. And that's the one thing the Eagles have not done.
Correct.
They've done the bring you a championship now twice, get to a championship. But then it seems like there's always the inevitable stumble afterwards, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So it's like you realize how good it is, but then because you've tasted the greatness, you aspire for something better.
Right. And look,
And maybe that's unfair, by the way.
no, I don't think it's unfair because we've
but
seen
high
it.
expectations.
Look, we've seen it. And
Sure.
and this roster, it's not like this roster, even though there were some questionable moves during the offseason. Now, we talked about them, right? Like, I was furious when they traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, despite him being on like 18 teams since then. I was very concerned about Dallas Goedert potentially exiting the Philadelphia Eagles.
You were
Unfortunately,
borderline devastated.
Fortunately, he came back. But ultimately, the roster was still spectacular. And they had to add players, and they did that this past week by acquiring Jalen Phillips at a position of need, whereas some teams will just sit on their hands and say, no, we're good. Howie Roseman and his aggressive nature, and this is, to me, this isn't just like a name brand player. This is a guy that knows Vic Fangio's system.
He does.
You heard it in the clip there. The history of Vic Fangio played a factor into the decision to make the trade. And clearly they valued him enough by giving up a third-round pick, but it was also the smart third-round decision and not the one from the New York Jets that's going to be one of the top picks in the third round.
They're also, though, I mean, I would say to you is that in it, and if you like watching like an NFL Live, which I love to do, and some of these other shows, there's also the discussion of Phillips. Two major injuries in a short period of time. How good of guy is he? It's worth taking a flyer on.
Sure.
And it's worth seeing what the guy's got. But we would be saying somebody else would be going, man, he suffered two major injuries. What's he going to have? He's on a prove-it type of opportunity
He
here.
absolutely is.
And to me, a prove-it opportunity with Vic Fangio is one that I'm willing to buy into.
So what I want to do to start the show, let's start the positive, right? We had a nice fun day yesterday here on the Fanatic. Let's keep the good vibes going. Do we truly realize how good we have it with the Philadelphia Eagles organization? You can text in, you can call in at 610-632-0975. They won the Super Bowl last year. They're 6-2, and they didn't get fat and happy. They did do that the last time in 2017. They got fat and happy. They have not done that.
This is weird coming from you, though.
Why?
I got to be honest, when I saw it this morning, because you're the guy that in 2017 you refused in 2018 to let the good vibes roll and to just buy into it, but now has winning changed you? Has winning changed? Because the level of
if they didn't make a trade, I'd be furious today.
But I mean, is the level of expectation, has your level of expectation become a little, it's really, I should be happy, when really it should be maybe, dude, what's going on? Why all these moves having to be made?
See, that's how you look at it. That's not how I'm looking at it,
And that's what this is all about. This whole thing is about. I'm a little surprised by the message, but I'm interested to hear more of it.
All right, well, we'll continue the discussion
and seeing where it
today.
goes, because it's one thing. This team isn't expected to be stumbling and plugging holes and putting your finger in this because you got a leak.
That's what you may think, but maybe Howie told you so.
Oh, okay.
That's not for a little bit later in the show.
It is. We'll figure that one out.
Coming up next, wild day in the NFL yesterday. Maybe quiet for the Eagles yesterday, but a crazy day in the NFL. How much of the moves made in division impact the Eagles? We'll discuss some of the biggest trades from yesterday's NFL trade deadline here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
John Marks and Ray Dunn, your midday.
We truly realize how good we have it with this organization. It's interesting. I have something planned for literally later this hour, toward the end of the hour, around 6:55, where you mentioned something about plugging holes, maybe based off of decisions made in the past by the Eagles. I went back to the archives, not the Harry Mays archives.
Not the Harry Mays ones, which by the way, were hilarious.
I went back to the Howie Roseman archives from 3 months ago. And you shouldn't be that surprised, but that's later on in the 6
Howie
o'clock
Roseman
hour.
archives.
Yes.
I find Howie much more interesting to listen to now after a couple titles. I don't know about you guys.
I will say his attempts at humor are
terrible.
Horrific.
He's an awkward comedian.
Yeah.
They need to stop. And by the way, we have a great, I think that Philadelphia Eagles have the best beat in the country by far.
Oh, they're fantastic.
That doesn't just include McLean, who is part of our show on come out. We'll hear from him later.
No, it's Zach, it's EJ.
They're just great. They have a great
Martin
complex.
Frank, all those guys.
And then you get the columnists and everything. It's great. And
of course our own Andrew DeCecco.
But not very funny.
Yeah, Howie's
The beat too. They're not funny when they try to be funny. They're not funny either. They're great writers.
You seen Jimmy Kempski's stick figures?
Yeah,
No,
dude,
Jimmy,
Kempski's a comedian.
I applaud Jimmy Kempski. I think Jimmy Kempski is the one who I think others are leaning into trying to be. Don't be funny on Zoom press conference.
All right, so the Eagles acquired Jalen Phillips the day before the trade deadline. We know that Jair Alexander was over the weekend, and before the weekend, the Eagles acquired Michael Carter II. So those were sort of the flurry of moves by Howie Roseman leading up to the trade deadline. We've seen this before where he acts a little bit earlier, like the Buyer trade a couple of years ago.
He wants to get there in earlier, yeah.
He did it a week before the trade deadline. So yesterday, some moves of note. We'll do 2 NFC teams, one in your division, another NFC team that's fighting for the top of the NFC, and then just sort of the big move made in the AFC that kind of, I think, shocked a lot of people. So first, we'll start with the Cowboys. Even though the Eagles have a sizable lead against the Dallas Cowboys,
it's over.
It's just something to point out because they do play them one more time. They acquired Quinnen Williams from the New York Jets, who is a very, very, very good player. He's a beast in the middle interior offensive line. He was with the New York Jets, now with the Dallas Cowboys. They also acquired Logan Wilson, which was announced during our show yesterday, the linebacker from Cincinnati. They traded a 7th-round pick for Logan Wilson. He's got 2 years left, and he's the middle linebacker for one of the worst defenses in the NFL in Cincinnati. Quinnen Williams, a much better move for the Dallas Cowboys, but my question is why?
What do you mean why?
They traded away a 2026 second-round pick and a 2027 first-round pick. And Mozzie Smith stinks. He's the same player from the Jalen Carter draft. But they traded a 2026 second-rounder and a 2027 first-round pick. And I understand that he's a hell of a football player. And I understand that he's under contract. But you look at what the Dallas Cowboys are right now, and you've mentioned it yourself, the cap hell that this team is already in. Are they really setting themselves up for a move?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked the way that whole thing went down.
Crazy.
Because what they're trying to do, though, is they're trying to scramble to fix a problem.
Right.
They made a bad decision. Now, you can either admire people for that, which I do. I fall into the camp of I admire people who, look, if you have to acknowledge the mistake, though, for me to give you my admiration. You have to say, look, I wish I know I made a mistake here. Let's get this thing changed up. They made a mistake with Micah Parsons, a terrible one, and now they're trying to cosmetically replace it.
Yeah.
And to me, they're going to end up. They ended up in a worse situation. They could have just had Micah Parsons, and they could have kept all of that draft capital. And they didn't have some of it.
By the way, the 2027 first-round pick that they gave up, they have 2 first-round picks, their own, and obviously via I think it was the trade for Micah Parsons where they acquired from Green Bay. It's the better of the 2 that goes to New York.
Right.
So, if they're in a potential not rebuild, but
which
like
I don't see them in a rebuild,
but like a retool, like you're giving up capital that.
I see them in purgatory.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
They're going to be in that middle ground, even though I don't believe in purgatory. They're going to be in middle ground.
They've been in it for almost 40 years now.
Yeah, I just
which is
a religious concept I don't buy into, but that's all right.
Now, the Seattle Seahawks made a big move yesterday for what they needed. They got Rashid Shaheed, the wide receiver from the New Orleans Saints, and that's a big move for them considering what they've been able to accomplish offensively with just Jackson Smith and Jigba, right?
Who, by the way, is more of an impact player than I thought he'd be.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be a good player.
Well, it was a weird decision to make because you already had Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but they were planning for the future, much like the Buccaneers did this past draft with Emeka Egbuka, because they knew that at some point Mike Evans was going to be out the door.
Absolutely.
So it's sort of a thinking down the road thing, and now their offense gets a little bit more explosive, and I know how you feel about Sam Darnold in there, Connor, but much like last year with the Vikings with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, now he's got 2 wide receivers to work with, and he's already been playing pretty well with just really one legit receiver in Jackson Smith and Jigba. And then the biggest trade of the day yesterday was the Colts landing Sauce Gardner. I know that has nothing to do with the NFC, but who knows? Could the Colts be potentially a Super Bowl opponent if the Eagles were to return?
They lost one of their corners.
Yes.
So they needed to make a move. That's a move, though, that's a huge – look, I don't care what the Colts do for their long-term draft. Doesn't matter to me. But for the Colts, just got a lot more interesting in the AFC.
2 first-round picks, this upcoming first-round pick, which will probably be toward the back end of the first round, and then a 2027 first-round pick for a player, by the way, that they have under control for a couple of years. He just signed his extension with the New York Jets.
No, his extension hasn't even begun.
Right, so
so that's
it's
fine.
not like you got him for 2 years. You're getting him for 4 the rest of this season, and I think 4 more. So it was a big move for the Indianapolis Colts that kind of added some excitement to the trade deadline yesterday.
They're going all in, which is something that Howie Roseman's all about when you have a chance to win. So
Absolutely.
They
This
went
is
all
our
in.
Colts. This is our
Oh,
sauce.
no, this is our sauce.
Oh.
This is our team.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
please.
I'm disgusted by you.
Oh, my
All
God.
right, coming up next, we will continue talking Eagles over the course of the show, of course. But last night was the worst night for the Joel Embiid narrative. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Okay, good.
But it was the worst night for the Joel Embiid narrative. It was also a dose of a sedative. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Let me tell you about FanDuel. All
a
right?
sedative, see?
Every NFL Thursday is your chance to hit the jackpot on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge. Because with FanDuel's Thursday touchdown jackpot, you can win a share of $2 million in bonus bets each week. So all you have to do to get into this Thursday night action is bet an anytime touchdown score. So tomorrow we have the Raiders without Jacoby Myers after he was traded, and you have the Denver Broncos. So if you think Bo Nix runs into the end zone by himself, or maybe a handoff to Dobbins, and they score the touchdown, you're going to get your touchdown score bet. However, if they're the first or last touchdown of the game, you'll also win your bet plus a share of bonus bets. So visit FanDuel.com/Fanatic. That's FanDuel.com/Fanatic for your chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. Opt-in, must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last touchdown pick. Bonus issued as non-trivial bonus bets expire 21 days at the receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A slow deadline day for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles were quiet on the actual trade deadline day yesterday, not making any additional moves on the 3 moves they already made. The NFL was not quiet, though, with some big trades going down, including the Jets trading Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys and Sauce Gardner to the Colts. Howie Roseman met with media yesterday and talked about the Eagles' philosophy when it came to this year's deadline.
I think it first starts with an overall philosophy that we could upgrade every spot. With that mentality, looking for any edges. So if there's incremental difference in a player, we owe it to our team, to our fans, to our building, to our owner to do that.
Now, apparently, Howie saw that with Michael Carter II, with Jair Alexander, and also Jalen Phillips, with now the focus turns to a Monday night matchup with the Packers in Lambeau coming your way in Week 10. Sixers blew a 24-point lead in Chicago last night, losing to the Bulls in bad fashion. Tyrese Maxey had 39, but the Sixers did not score from the field for the final 6 minutes of the game. They've got a back-to-back matchup with the Cavs tonight in Cleveland. 7 p.m. tip. You can hear that game here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers fought off a comeback after giving up a 3-goal lead, taking down the Canadiens in a shootout. They're off tonight. Adam Schefter, 7:55, joins the show. Jeff McClain will join us at 8:25. This update's brought to you by Mattress Firm. Score huge deals and better sleep at Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale. Their sleep experts will find the perfect bed for your unique needs. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's 627 here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic. We'll get to our Eagles text here momentarily. Again, our question, do we truly realize how good we have it with this organization, with the Philadelphia Eagles? They're always in the mix. They're usually always in the news for good. I don't know. The A.J. Brown drama is obviously one thing, but, like, you see what's going on in Dallas and Jerry Jones admitting on Stephen A's show on SiriusXM, I say things on purpose to stay relevant. Like,
which to me is immediately, that's what I don't want in my executive.
No, like, I'm sure for sports talk in Dallas, it provides plenty of content.
Oh, yeah, he's gold. Clickbait.
But oh, my God, could you imagine if Howie Roseman said, yeah, I do this stuff on purpose to get reaction from people? And it's like, that's literally a clickbait person. Like that, like the person that you in the car right now or in your kitchen or in your bedroom getting ready for the day, the person that you hate that, like, covers a team that says stuff on purpose just to try to get a reaction, that's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
And he does his radio show with my buddies in Dallas. He does that appearance.
Yeah.
And they literally know he's using them.
Right.
But they're like, this is the most listened to radio segment in Dallas every week.
And they have to talk about it.
Every
they have
week.
to react because
Right.
it's the owner of the Cowboys. Like
we would kill for it.
Like if
we would kill to have Jerry Jones once a week to come on and do like 20 minutes, and you know he's going to drop two bombs.
Right.
That everybody else is going to be reacting.
If we had somebody that covered the team on and they said stuff just to get reaction, because nobody in this city does that, just to say stuff to get reaction, we would react to it, and then I think you and I, because we have pride, would say, yeah, probably won't have that guy on again.
You know
but
what?
It's the owner.
I know. Here's the thing, though, and it's something that I struggle with. And look, it's a topic maybe for another day, a cooler time when we don't have as much football going on. We say that, like, we have a level of integrity, we wouldn't want to do that. But the thing is, if the audience in this city
that's true.
laps that up and laps up that kind of
people
crap,
do.
are we doing the wrong things?
That's a good point, Johnny.
Because if people prefer to have BS storylines and talk about stuff that's not happening, like A.J. Brown trades.
Eagles should have traded A.J. Brown yesterday.
Is it like
610-632-0975.
Do people prefer hearing nonsense? And I tell you, and you know that I've asked you this off the air many times, is that do people prefer hearing just gibberish?
I'm sure some people do.
And I'll never understand it.
Well, then they probably loved the end of last night's Sixers game because that was nonsense.
Let's get into that. So last night was the worst night for the narrative of the team plays slower with Joel Embiid. So let's break this down.
Okay, can I ask you right off the bat, because I think
ahead.
you're setting something up here where I'm going to take issue, so I just want to do it right off the bat.
Okay.
Why are you calling it a narrative?
Because we're how many games in the season?
But the team does play. The team does play slower with Joel Embiid in there. That's not narrative. But that's fact.
But we are going to act like that's always a bad thing.
No.
It's not you. There are people that will do that.
You can't assume that from people.
Assumption. I see it on social media.
But you can't. No. But the thing is that it's not a narrative. It's a fact. When Joel Embiid is playing with this team, and it's one of my fears. All of a sudden, the game goes slower when he becomes more of a focus.
So let's talk about last night. First and foremost, Joel Embiid played 5.5 minutes in the fourth quarter, and it was the last 5.5 minutes of the game, right?
Yes.
He sat the first 6.5 minutes of the fourth quarter when the Chicago Bulls started making their run. All right, so it wasn't like it was during the 5.5 minutes where the Bulls went on a run, and that's why the Sixers lost. Because I saw on social media last night after the loss that Joel Embiid single-handedly lost the game for the Sixers. We're going to ignore Quentin Grimes' 3 turnovers. Tyrese Maxey, maybe legs are not under him right now because he's been playing 40 minutes every single night, right? There are other guys that struggled in the fourth quarter yesterday. But during the 5.5 minutes, to your point, John, Joel Embiid, they just kept giving him the ball.
What was that?
Well,
what was it?
Nick Nurse spoke about it after the game. This was Nick Nurse on the offense going through Joel Embiid, the 0 of 5 from the field, all those mid-range jump shots. He does explain, and there is reason for it. This was Nick Nurse last night.
Probably a little bit stagnant, yeah, for sure. But I think, again, we probably weren't playing good enough defense, again, to get out and move, get up the floor and play. So we're playing against set D every time, so that's going to be obviously a little harder. There was plenty of good shots in there. There was some tough ones, but there was plenty of good ones in there. Got to make a few to keep scoreboard moving, and we didn't weren't able to move it very well in the fourth quarter for sure.
So
Probably a little bit stagnant. This is where it drives me mad. Probably a little bit stagnant.
yeah, but did you hear the rest of the thing that he was talking
But
about?
the thing is, he
Bulls-
sets it up with the disclaimer of, well, probably a little bit stagnant. No, it was stagnant.
When the Bulls score, you can't go on the break. And the Bulls, again, were on the run the
That is
entire
correct.
fourth quarter. So it's not like basket good, you can chuck it down court and go.
No, understood.
And so what they're doing right now and trying to figure out is, what do we do in the half court? And in the half court, it is still going through Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid, when the Bulls went to the zone yesterday, it's the same story with the Sixers. They struggle against zone defense. It's insane. And he was not kicking the ball out. He was trying to play hero, and it was not going well. So Joel Embiid, again, I'm not saying the issues in the last 5 minutes have nothing to do with Joel Embiid.
Oh, they had a lot to do with it.
I know I ooze out Joel Embiid confidence, but Joel Embiid, it was part of the problem the last 5 minutes of that basketball game. But it did start late in the third quarter, and there were a lot of players that struggled in that game, but it did not help the narrative because, to your point, John, it did keep on going through Joel Embiid. And what Nick Nurse is going to have to figure out, and this is why after night one we talked about the passing of the torch, and how after a couple of other games with Joel Embiid we talked about how is this going to look when Paul George comes back, because that's now another player.
Which is my fear.
It's another player in the half court, but maybe that's a guy that Embiid could kick it out to, that he feels a little bit more comfortable kicking it out to. I'm not sure. But this is why I keep on saying on this show, I am trying to be patient before I come up with an opinion of how this team looks when one guy is on the court versus how one guy is not on the court, because they don't have the full complement of players yet, and I still need to see them learn and figure out how to play with one another.
Did you think Embiid seemed like, the two of you, did you think Embiid looked like he had confidence in his teammates in the fourth quarter late last night?
I didn't take it as a lack of confidence.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I looked at it as a guy trying to play hero, trying to do it all himself. And what have we learned over the course of the beginning of this season? He doesn't have to be that. He can be the complementary player.
I don't mean disrespect by this.
Okay, go on.
To compare Joel Embiid to this, but have you ever rescued a dog and then they don't eat food the same way and they're a little skittish around you? Joel Embiid is used to not having help for 12 years, as we heard him talk about.
Okay.
So I think he's got to get into that mindset of, hey, I do have players that I can kick the ball out to, and it's not Tobias Harris who's going to dribble for the shot clock and then throw up some layup that doesn't go in.
Sure.
So I think part of it is going to be accepting what the team is now. But I don't think it's a lack of confidence. I just think he's not used to this type of team.
I also think they need to figure out who their closer is, because here's the deal. The last 2 minutes, all right, so again, Joel Embiid played the last 5 minutes
Right.
and 39 seconds of the game last night. The last 2 minutes, Maxey missed step back, Maxey missed running layup, Embiid missed jump shot, Maxey missed three-pointer.
Maxey's legs definitely were not under him
Right.
last night.
And then
all he's done
Grimes,
this
and then
year.
Grimes missed three-pointer.
Right.
So in the final 2 minutes, again, when I say narrative, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I feel like people are going to see.
Well, narrative depicts it as it's not real.
Right, I got you.
Can't, that's why I reject the word.
But the final 2 minutes, Embiid only took one shot.
But he was controlling the ball for a lot of that, though. Still, he was still making the decisions, and I don't understand it. They got slow and plodding last night.
So Nick Nurse has to figure things out, which is why I say last night was the sedative game, because I think we were really sky high with this team, and we should have been, right?
Sure, it should have been.
Last year sucked, and the first start to this season was a lot of fun. The 4-0 start, then you bounce back, win your fifth game.
And I don't want to backslide to,
I'm not
to watching last night. Last night seemed like I was watching previous year's Sixers games.
But I'm trying to see how it all gets figured out before I come to some determination. And that's the message that I've been trying to push. All right, you can text it at 610-632-0975. Our Eagles question for you. Do you truly realize how good we have it with the Eagles organization? Sixers question. Are you going to be patient with how this continues to develop? Or do you think you already know the answer and the issues of this team, or the issue of this team? Respond to those two questions for us. Coming up next, 610-632-0975. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Whether you're at the
even though the Sixers loss sucked, Flyers get another win. And how about it, Johnny? Shootout fashion again, man.
Yeah, they're winning in shootouts. But that game last night, now, to me, the funny thing is that game was extremely annoying.
Well, especially when you're up 3-0. You know, right after Tocchet has the comments that he made the other day, like, you know, there's guys that are just standing around, guys that aren't playing hard.
You're 10 minutes in, and you're 3-0 against a Montreal team that is young and talented. It's a little ahead of the curve of you right now. And then they just fell apart.
Yeah, four goals allowed in the second period by the Flyers, and then fortunately they were able to tie it up in the third and then go to the shootout. And that's been the Flyers' best friend this year, which is absurd considering we know the history of the Flyers and shootouts. But Bobby Brink, man, having himself a hell of a season. 2 goals in the first period yesterday.
Maybe
he's already got 5 on the season.
Kincade Salciunas, like a little
friend of the show.
Little friend of the show, yeah. Little kiss on the cheek for that one. That's a great one. We love it. That was awesome. Great day.
Connor, how do you say the name of the Flyer who tied it in the third period?
Oh, Gurbankin?
Yes, it's good work.
Not bad at all.
Was right off that.
By the way, I have enjoyed watching him so much. Like, I've really enjoyed him, and I knew nothing about his game. No, I knew nothing about his game. And I have enjoyed watching him.
Big pronunciation guy back here.
Well, it reminds me of, even though he's not French, he's Russian. Remember Frank Ntilikina? Remember he played for the Knicks? Nobody could say that guy's name correct at all.
Well, the team messes you.
Colarulo seems to be a bit of a problem around here, I'm finding.
Oh, what, with names? Like
some people have
what the hell did he I think he called him QAnon Williams yesterday. I have no idea what he called him yesterday.
Bill's name I even hear. I think Johnny Marks struggles with Bill's name. Is the Colarulo.
Oh, I thought you meant Bill saying names.
No, saying
because he tried saying Quinnen Williams yesterday, and it was an atrocious attempt. And I'm not good with names, but that's an easy one, brother. Come on.
It is Philadelphia, boys.
All right, let's get to the text line, Connor. You can
Bill's
text
not
the
in
show
court anymore.
at 610-632-0975. Yeah, he served all the easy. He served John Smith.
Yes, exactly. He didn't want to take care of the bad people.
What do we got on the text line, Connor? At 610-632-0975. Our Eagles question, do we truly realize how good we have it with this organization? I understand what you're talking about with plugging holes, John, and in the next segment, we will play you audio from yesterday that I think made you think even more about that, but I'm going to go back to the Howie archives from August.
Okay.
That may tell you maybe this is all part of the plan.
Oh, please.
And then the Sixers discussion, are you willing to be patient? Now, I saw a response on YouTube from D-Flyers saying that there's no time to be patient with Joel Embiid. I'm not saying with him specifically like ramp up. I'm talking about Nick Nurse trying to figure out how to make this lineup work when VJ Edgecombe's doing more things that I think anybody expected.
He is.
And so now Nick Nurse has to go, oh, man, I have to be able to make this guy work. Jared McCain did not look great yesterday in his return. But
he's got a full excuse.
That's a ramp up, right? So, and then eventually Paul George's going to come back, and there are new pieces at the 4 position. So I'm not saying patience with Embiid. I'm saying patience with the team and trying to figure out how you have an offense that can explode, but at the same time, when it is half-court offense time, which it was in the fourth quarter yesterday because the Bulls weren't missing, how are you going to fix that?
They are I think many people, and I don't mean that everybody, I think they have what I have. That watching Embiid-led basketball bores the hell out of me. Watching Embiid do his thing and cook is different. Watching Embiid serve is sort of like one of my buddies here saying he's going up. Watching Embiid sort of try to play point guard is terrible to me. I hate it. Hate watching it. It's boring.
Well,
and it's plodding and it's slow and it's just not good.
And then the response is Tyrese Maxey, still to this day, despite his incredible starts to the season, is not a true point guard. And we'll see.
Well, you know what though? He's more equipped, I believe, than Embiid is as far as for the style of play. Got to move. We got to move.
Yeah.
Got to move.
You got to move the ball. By the way, sorry, D-Flyers. I didn't realize he was agreeing with me. He was saying, I'm reading the chat. All right, text line. What we got?
Yeah, Joe the Cynic checks in and says, I love how the Eagles identify, acknowledge, and adjust the roster flaws. I wish other teams in the city weren't so comfortable with mediocrity in their lineup.
Dave Dombrowski obviously doesn't go to the Howie Roseman school. He keeps doubling down on failed strategies, thinking that this is the year it's going to work as the team gets older. So I also appreciate Joe the Cynic there. I appreciate his thought process.
Good news, the Major League Baseball offseason has started, and who knows what
Is that good news? We're hoping it's good news.
We're hoping it's good.
We're hoping
Free
it's good
agency
news.
opens tomorrow.
Because I'm hearing the Golden Girls theme in my head. I really am. I'm very nervous.
I can't stop thinking about the Ruben Amaro piece on NBC Philly where, like, the number one trade chip was Alec Boehm, but then he followed up with, but if they were to keep him, I believe he could be a World Series champion third baseman. And I'm like, oh my God.
Get off the freaking fence.
We can't. But I'm not trying to call out Ruben. I'm saying like this is a Dombrowski thing too. Like,
I love Rube, and I'll call it out. Get off the freaking fence. Yes.
If you think the guy can't like
exactly, you got to and get off the fence of just like this belief of I think Dombrowski will figure it out. Look, Dave Dombrowski has a spectacular resume.
Yeah.
Spectacular resume. You know who has a great resume? Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Maybe the greatest of all time. You know what he does now as a coach? He sucks.
Yeah. You can't keep living off of a resume.
The resume stuff is great. That's for his retirement dinner.
Yeah.
Now we got to say, get something freaking done.
I've been saying it since the trade deadline at 24. He's been living off of his resume. What do we got? What else we got on the text line?
Bill in Harleysville checks in on the Sixers and says, I know it's still early, and I'm trying to be patient, but it does not look good with Embiid on the floor at all. At what point do we say this isn't going to work?
Now, see, this is where, again, I will find it interesting.
Okay.
So when you say they don't look good with Embiid on the floor at all,
well, we didn't say it all. What did he say?
He said it all.
He said at all?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yes.
crazy. That's crazy town.
Because
so he went too far.
Because yesterday in the first quarter, when they scored 45 points, Joel Embiid was on the floor for 8 minutes of it. And they looked really good at all.
No, they did. That's why he went too far with the at all. But it's the bottom line is that, look, I just think it's not I've seen the movie. It doesn't
No,
work.
I get it. It's just it's interesting, right?
But they
because
keep doing it.
Nobody was complaining about the slowed down pace in the first quarter, right? When they scored 45 points.
Yeah.
Nobody's complaining about
He
that.
was on the floor for that.
But in the fourth quarter, because it wasn't working, it's now, the slow offense.
No, but it is it's a slower game. And by the way, that first didn't seem slow. It didn't seem slow. It didn't seem the ball wasn't moving well. It didn't seem like that at all. In fact, I thought the ball movement looked great.
He was 2 of 4 from the field, got to the free throw line twice for 4 free throw attempts. Like that's all in the half court.
No, I'm talking about the ball move. The ball movement in the first quarter was nothing like the fourth quarter.
Right.
Nothing like the fourth quarter. It looked complete. The style of play looked like quicksand in the fourth.
First quarter, the Bulls were not making their shots.
Okay.
So they could go on the break, whereas last night in the fourth quarter they were, and then it goes to the half court every single time.
And Joel Embiid controlling things.
And that's what
drags it down.
Nick Nurse is going to have to figure it out.
Please figure it out, Nick.
All right, coming up next, as we continue to react to the Eagles' moves before the trade deadline, how much fixing did Howie have to make from his offseason mistakes? Or, Johnny, was this the plan all along? It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The NFL trade period comes to an end. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles were quiet on actual trade deadline day yesterday, not making any additional moves. The NFL was not quiet, though, with some big trades going down, including the Jets moving Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys and Sauce Gardner to the Colts. Howie Roseman met with media yesterday, and he talked about the Eagles' philosophy when it came to this year's trade deadline.
I feel like when there's opportunities to be aggressive for the right players, we're not going to sit on our hands. I don't think that you have great success without taking great risks at times. They got to make sense, and so we can't be afraid to fail.
And they weren't, making 3 moves, adding Michael Carter II, Jair Alexander, and Jalen Phillips. Now the focus turns to a Monday night matchup with the Packers in Lambeau. Sixers blew a 24-point lead in Chicago last night, losing to the Bulls in rough fashion. Tyrese Maxey at 39, but the Sixers were scoreless in the final 6 minutes of the game from the floor. They've got a back-to-back with the Cavs tonight in Cleveland, 7 p.m. tip-off. You can hear that game live here on 97.5. Flyers fought off a comeback after giving up a 3-goal lead, taking down the Canadiens in a shootout. They're off tonight. We'll talk to Adam Schefter coming up at 7:55. Jeff McClain at the Inquirer at 8:25. This update is brought to you by Groundworks, your trained and certified experts for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
momentarily. Again, thank you for joining us yesterday during the All-Star Day, which was a lot of fun throughout the course of the day here on 97.5 The Fanatic. But, of course, that trade deadline thing happened. So the 4 o'clock hour that was supposed to be the Amy hour on Unfiltered became the Howie Roseman hour because he spoke for almost an hour, which I'm fine with for content purposes on this morning, the day after All-Star Day. Howie Roseman.
And we appreciate Howie.
At one point, and I think this is the clip that sort of got your brain spinning a little bit with this conversation about plugging holes. Was it the one about Cooper DeJean?
Well, it was part of it. Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot of things that are just right now with the plugging of the holes, because I think that's where there's a lot of corrections going on right now.
So
which I admire,
right?
But we'll get into that discussion.
So one of the big talking points right now since the acquisition of Michael Carter II, who is a nickel corner, has been about Cooper DeJean going to the outside, despite Vic Fangio saying numerous times this year
that he doesn't want to do that.
That he doesn't want to do that because of how excellent Cooper DeJean is at the slot. Now, of course, we all are on the same page that CB2 was one of the glaring weaknesses on this entire football team, not just on the defense, but the entire team. I value edge rusher. They acquired Jalen Phillips, but CB2 is still a question mark. We don't know who Jair Alexander is going to be with the Eagles. We don't know if Cooper DeJean's actually going to bounce out to the outside. We don't know if Keely Ringo is going to continue to improve. We don't know who Jacorian Bennett really is, right? So here is Howie Roseman responding to a question about DeJean potentially going to the outside. And listen closely, because he goes in like 5 different directions, talking about 5 different players. It's not just, he doesn't technically answer the question about DeJean, but there's a lot to it. Take a listen.
The first half of the season showed us how important corner depth is. You know, we had a bunch of games here where, you know, we didn't have our full complement of guys, and it's a position that you need to have a bunch of guys here for the amount of games that we're trying to play. And so when these opportunities came about, first with Michael, you know, Michael's another guy that we knew really well coming out of college, and then just like Vic with Jalen, obviously Joe Douglas is here, and he had a lot of experience with the person. And so, you know, when you go and you watch someone, and then you go talk to someone who's been with someone whose opinion you trust, you know, whether it's Vic or Joe or CP with Jair, and you see things the same way, and they're telling you about the person, you know, that makes you more confident in what you're getting. And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to be able to match up with all kinds of shapes and sizes at the wide receiver position, in the secondary. When you have guys who can do that, it just gives you so much flexibility when you're going to play different teams, and the different types of receivers they have, the different types of tight ends and backs coming out of the backfield. And when you talk about Michael Carter, the guy has played an elite level inside, so that gives you flexibility there. Incredibly sharp guy. Joe Casper coached him at Duke. He could play safety, which is really important. I think that we've always had that piece of a guy who could play nickel and also come into the game and play safety. You know, last year we had that with Avante. And so it gives that flexibility. Obviously, Coop, incredible player and somebody who can play really anywhere in the secondary. So it gives you those matchups.
All right, so he bounces around a lot in that clip.
Did you follow? I just tried to write down a couple of things. Did you follow? Like, to me, that seemed like a game of hop, skip, and jump.
Well, no. So there's a lot to it. As you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibility. So in the beginning, when he talks about, we found out early on how important it is to have depth at the cornerback position. Sometimes depth doesn't necessarily mean that you have good players.
Correct.
Right.
You're throwing bodies at something.
Right. And
by the way, that has to happen in football.
Right. It absolutely
in a salary cap sport.
Right.
Like, you're not going to have all-stars at every position. So I totally get that, and I don't think that's double talk on his part. I think that's fact.
Right.
I think that's fact.
Now, the Cooper DeJean angle of all of this, right? So let's not forget that when they are in a base defense, which just doesn't happen much in today's NFL, because offenses have a bunch of wide receivers out on the field more so. They're not doing 12 personnel, much like the Eagles do almost every single play, and same with the Detroit Lions and what they do. So you can, in dime packages, have 2 slot corners, right? Like, Michael Carter II might be out on the field during a dime package when Cooper DeJean is still on the other side of the field in the slot, and then you have the 2 outside corners. Or in a base defense, maybe Cooper DeJean plays on the outside. You also heard Howie mention Michael Carter potentially being able to play safety much like Avonte Maddox. I don't think he's overtaking Drew Makuba, but what if there's an injury?
Absolutely.
Right? You're acquiring a player that you think you have optionality with. That's a scary word in this town.
Listen to you.
Yeah, it's the same hinky word. You have optionality with Michael Carter II where he can play in the slot or at the safety position. You have optionality in Cooper DeJean where he can play slot, outside, and hell, he can play safety, despite the song telling us that he is not a safety.
Who sang that song?
Cooper DeJean is not a safe.
Michael Jackson, obviously, sang that song.
By the way, really well done song, too.
Well,
I think it's
it
funny.
was great. So he's talking about how they're acquiring guys with optionality. But let's face it, they did realize a mistake that they made during the offseason.
Which one?
Well,
Which one? Seriously, like which one? Like
I think number one is Isaiah Rodgers. I think that is the number one mistake. We
Okay,
all
that's
agree you're not
huge.
bringing back Milton Williams or Josh Sweat. We're all on the same page.
We're all, okay, wait, because that's what we have to do. Because it's funny is I want to get that we're all nailed down, that we all have the same talking point.
Yeah.
We are totally fine with Sweat going away, and Milton Williams had to go away.
You weren't going to pay $100 million.
No, you were going
to
to. They both had to go away because you have to be able to do other things down the line with a young team.
Right, exactly.
And we love. By the way, we love those players.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yes,
Josh Sweat drove me up a wall sometimes.
No,
but,
no.
you know,
But we're on the same. But we're on the same page. So we're all working from the same talking point.
So Isaiah Rodgers defensively was the biggest one, right? Because that would have been you're locked down, right? You've Quinyon Mitchell one side, Isaiah Rodgers for at least 2 years on the other side.
I couldn't believe that we're. I can't believe we're having the conversation that it ever happened. That he walked out the door.
Now, was this the plan all along? So I went back into the archives, Johnny, and I found this clip from the last week of August. So before the Eagles opened up the season, September 4th against the Dallas Cowboys, it was Howie's end of preseason press conference, and we don't hear from Howie often. We hear from him after moments like this with the trade deadline.
Absolutely.
This was Howie Roseman talking about the roster going into the season.
Yeah, I would say this. I would say we're not done here. We're not done. We'll see what happens in the next 24 hours. I think I said this the last time we spoke. We got a lot of picks here, and we're happy to use those picks in the draft. But I think for us, the early part of the season, September, we got to see what we have, and if we need something, I'll do whatever I can to help this football team and be aggressive, and Jeffrey gives me that opportunity to do that. And so, I don't think that we're done. I don't think this is necessarily, this is a work in progress.
Not giving me the keys quite yet.
Yeah, not yet. No, he's going to drive. But we're going to continue sitting together. But I think that's where we got to be. And I would say this, obviously last year was a great year, and throughout the year, we're trying to improve the team, and I think that even after the trade deadline, you're sitting there and you're going, hey, is there anything else we can do? Is there things that we can continue to do? So I don't sit here, no matter what the year is, no matter what the time of the year is, and feel content with what we're doing, and just will continue to look for opportunities. And I promise when I leave here, I will go back upstairs and we will be looking for opportunities tonight, tomorrow, and we'll continue to look through them, every day here until we stop playing, and then we'll take a couple-day break, and then we'll keep looking for guys.
And then they'll get back to it. But yeah, like Howie was saying right away, I have all these draft picks. I would love to use them in the draft, but I'll also use them to improve my team if need be.
All right.
Now, is it the best strategy to go into a season knowing that you're going to have to improve your team? Maybe not the best strategy. Ask the Sixers that.
The thing is the idea of Howie always wanting to improve the team is something we all applaud.
Absolutely.
And something that we all, if we're going to get on Dave Dombrowski for doubling down all the time on the same strategy, like I'm impressed with that. So there's no negativity to that. What I don't understand is that I'm not going to give him credit for all the mistakes that we're still scrambling in early November, and we're picking up pieces that are not guarantees. Phillips is the one who looks most plug and play, should work.
Yeah.
The others,
You have no idea what you're going
you're
to
just
get out
throwing
of
stuff up against the wall. And
to
me, that's just like that means you had a sort of a poor plan.
Well, again,
I mean, that seems like you.
There were some players.
You doubled down on Keely Ringo.
Yeah, Isaiah Rodgers. Well, yeah.
And you doubled down on that because
one.
you wanted to be right on Keely Ringo. You wanted to be right. You wanted that to turn out. We wanted to give him the best shot. By doing that, it ends up that was a mistake. It was a mistake because he's not. He's not the guy. We can say, and I love Keeley. I watched him play since when he got recruited to Georgia. I'm a fan, but it's not happening.
Yeah, I just wonder. Now let's think about this for a minute here. How much of it is thinking about DeJean on the outside down the road? They've never said that wasn't going to happen, right? So was this year let's see what we have in Keely Ringo, and then next year we might eventually move Cooper DeJean to the outside, like after this season? I don't know. The biggest miss is not bringing back Isaiah Rodgers, because if you brought him back, the conversations are totally different, right?
No, completely different.
But other than Isaiah Rodgers, a lot of the not returning of players you kind of understood because of the cap. You had to think about it down the road.
And none of us are, again, Connor, Andrew, and I are all on the same page.
Yeah, Rodgers was the glaring one.
Yeah, none of us are disagreeing with those.
Yeah, and I don't think Rodgers was like a guy they said, hey, cool, go to Minnesota.
Well, it looks like it was botched, though.
They got. So,
and they botched it.
But you talk about the plan. The plan was to have Isaiah Rodgers
here.
But
no, the plan, no, it wasn't.
It didn't
you
last
see, this
long.
is where
He went to
this
Minnesota
is where it's not true,
very
Connor.
quickly.
If the plan was to keep Isaiah Rodgers all along, you lock down Isaiah Rodgers. You can't say, oh, go shop yourself, and then the plan is to keep you. If the plan's to keep you, you make him a priority. And I can't understand how cornerback 2 on this team was not a priority. I can't fathom it, especially how he understands the market 1,000 million times better than I do.
Yeah.
How did they underestimate that his market value was not going to be breaking the bank? Go out there, lock down a guy. Don't let him walk out the door. Don't let him shop.
Yeah, to me, that's not a flaw in plan, because we know that they wanted him. It's just a misevaluation of the market, which is still a mistake. But it's not like they said, hey, we're fine. They tried to sell us they were fine.
But he signed really quickly with Minnesota,
quickly.
though.
He signed quickly. I mean, the thing is what you're saying, though, Connor, is it wasn't a mistake. It was their plan all along to have him back. That's nonsense. If their plan all along, if Andrew's contract's up, our plan all along is to have Andrew Salciunas here long-term at the Fanatic. Oh, but it's a month out. It's 2 weeks out. And Andrew starts talking to other stations and going, I need to be able to pay my bills. It wasn't their plan all along because they putzed around with it.
Legal tampering began at 12 noon Eastern on the 10th of March. Adam Schefter's tweet of Isaiah Rodgers signing with the Vikings was at 1:38 that day, p.m. And so he probably negotiated with the Eagles. 2 years, $15 million was somehow too much, or the $8 million that was guaranteed, fully guaranteed. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know what the exact reasoning was. We haven't really heard from anybody on that. But they didn't want to go 2 for $15 for $8 million guaranteed. And that was 90 minutes into legal tampering.
And that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. That's a huge swing and a miss. But Howie has so many wins.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay. But this season has been chasing their tail. This has been a chasing your tail season. It's not been 2018 where you signed the bad contracts.
Yeah.
But to me, it's been
you chase your tail, and
your tail.
You're 6-2, and we'll see how it plays out starting Monday night against the Green Bay Packers,
which we're looking forward to.
All right, coming up next, should we expect much or anything at all from Jair Alexander? Howie Roseman was asked about him yesterday, and I think he said exactly what needs to be said. You'll hear that coming up next, and we'll check your text line on our Eagles and Sixers questions. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Adam Schefter Wednesday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Got to tell you that Dan White and Associates, man, they've been doing business for 40 years. So what do? They specialize in retirement and financial planning. What does that mean? So let's say you're just starting out and you don't know how to set a budget. You don't know how to make a financial plan that's going to stabilize what your family wants to accomplish in life. Or if you're a single person, the same thing applies. Dan
yesterday. I really enjoyed the jock
Yeah,
jams.
we're gonna freshen some of that.
I gotta
up. I like
ask-
that. I really enjoyed it.
Connor never heard of jock jams yesterday. We didn't have much time to spend on this. You never heard of jock jams. What was your opinion of jock jams when you were playing them?
I know all those songs. Every single one of them. I've heard them. I know.
Of course.
But you just said in the morning at like 5 a.m., get jock jams.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what you mean.
I figured people know what jock jams is.
I was surprised. I mean, I was very surprised that you didn't
You
know.
and I are the exact same age.
You were like Howie Roseman. You had a plan. You just didn't have a good enough one to explain it.
Oh, it wasn't a good enough plan. Okay. I thought the show went pretty well for 4 hours yesterday.
Well, on
show
Jock
was
Jams, it sort
The
of gave him a.
explaining of the
Yeah.
jock
Yep,
jams
I see how
was
it
not
is.
good enough.
Yeah,
The jock
yeah.
jams are great.
Yeah, why
It
don't
was
you,
a fun
why don't you
show.
take a bite of your food before Andrew DeCecco gets there?
Oh boy, that
It was a burger.
That's a bad move.
No. That's fair.
It's a bad move.
I think that's a fair thing
in
to
case people don't know, in case you don't follow me on Twitter, your mistake. We put out a poll yesterday because we went to Lucky's in Manayunk.
Yes.
Me, Johnny, Connor, and DeCecco in between our shifts here during All-Star Day yesterday. And everybody's food got dropped off at the table but one. And it was Andrew DeCecco. And I did the courteous thing. John Kincade did the courteous thing. We waited.
Yeah, and
The
then,
guy that's not in a relationship did not.
see, the thing is I think that's part of it.
That's a big key.
It is because Connor, it's very, very big with. You know,
If you're on a
can't-
date, would you
cannot-
do that?
You cannot do that. You wouldn't do that if
I'm
you're
not
on a
eating on a date.
What?
No. It's drinks first. I'd have to be like,
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's drinks. You've had drinks. Now
Second
it's
date.
dinner. Now it's dinner time.
All right, question. Fine.
second date's like
Fine,
an activity.
fine.
Like,
Drinks get dropped out. You know how sometimes bars are busy, right? I know you're top billing at Garage. They take care of you right away. Let's say you go to a different establishment and your drink is made first. Are you taking a sip?
yeah, absolutely.
See, now you don't because if you don't because if you don't do your cheers, if someone drinks before one person drinks before
it's
you do the
bad luck.
cheers, it's bad luck.
I thought you didn't believe in that stuff.
So you don't do that. That is just a
sounds
it's-
like a jinx.
That is tradition. That is called that's called tradition.
You
called
can change
tradition.
the words
You
all
spin
you
it
want
up.
No,
to
that's
make
a
your point.
tradition. Is if you're gonna cheers,
God.
if you're cheers with someone, you do it. You wait till everybody has their drink, and then you propose the toast, or you say, "Hey,
But you said, or you get bad luck.
let's get it." Yeah, I'm telling you, it's not good.
So tradition is good luck, bad luck.
Hey,
huh?
he's trying to have good luck on a date.
Howie Rose. That's a good
Gotta
point.
get this
So
boy
I'm going to
married.
have to try harder.
Gotta get
Howie
this boy married.
Roseman yesterday was asked about Jair Alexander, and this was his response.
Which I remembered when he signed in June with Baltimore, thinking what a great signing by them. And obviously it didn't work out for the way that he wanted or that they wanted, or he wouldn't have been available to us. But the relationship we have with Baltimore and being able to have honest conversations and understanding what he went through a little bit in training camp and getting back to health, obviously missed a lot of time last year. And then just really doing a deep dive on him and how successful he's been, what we thought of him last year, you know, when we were in Brazil playing them, and then for the first part of the year, and then having CP who's with him and getting to know the mindset of the player. And so sometimes, you know, you get in this league, you know, you acquire information, you watch everything, and you feel like, hey, the risk is worth the reward here. And I think when you talk about still a young guy, knowing where his health is at now, feeling healthy, feeling good, we felt like the risk was worth the reward with him.
By the way, CP is Christian Parker, who is
Right,
the
great
passing
coach.
game coordinator and D-backs coach.
And
for
he
the
is
Philadelphia.
somebody who is going to. He will not be here long.
DeCecco loves him.
No, he's not going to be here long.
Yeah.
He will be gone. I think he's gone next coaching.
He's only 33 years old, by the way, Christian Parker.
It's amazing. Next coaching cycle, I believe he'll be gone.
So that's who he's talking about. Christian Parker was with the Green Bay Packers for some time, so he knows Jair Alexander. So that's why Howie Roseman mentions him in that clip there. He said all the right things, right? We did our due diligence. We got some information on the guy. We didn't acquire him during the summer. And remember, there were reports that the Eagles wanted him during the summer. It's just he went to Baltimore because Lamar's there. He went to high school with them, and it was a prove-it deal. And so now he's coming here. I don't know. I'm not expecting much, right? Like, I don't think anybody should expect much. But he said the right thing. The risk is worth the reward, the risk being a sixth-round pick. You know what I mean? Like, all right, you gave up a sixth-round pick for a guy that you hope could return to some sort of form when he was a pretty damn good corner in the end.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get you.
Not just that, swap for a seventh, too.
Yeah.
All right, how many times are we saying these terms, though? How many times have we said these terms in the past 2 months? Oh, they swapped a pick to go get this guy, swapped a pick to go get this guy, swapped a pick. It's just a late round pick. It's just a late round pick. That limits your flexibility when Howie sees a guy when he's sitting, hopefully drafting 32nd in the first round, these picks not being there hurts your flexibility to be able to go, I got to get to 26. I got to get to 25. I got to get – so these picks do matter.
Yeah, but you're going from Simone Biles flexibility to Michaela Maroney flexibility. Like, you're still – that's
I
some
know Simone
gymnastics talk
Biles. I
for
do
you
not
there.
know the other one, but I know Simone.
They're still super flexible compared to the average team.
Okay.
Yeah, and they
No,
got
I mean,
the
it's
compensatory picks coming in this
I
year
get you,
from
but
some of the
you
players.
can't trade the compensatory.
Yeah, but you could trade from the other picks in those rounds.
Yeah, but you don't want to do that because the other pick in the round, like if you have the compensatory third, the other pick in the round's the Jets
but
pick. You don't want
You
that.
know what they're going to say. There's 10 first-round talents.
I know what they're going to say. Those are going to be – those are talking points.
Okay.
Those are talking points. They're trying to convince you that, it doesn't matter. These picks. These are just late-round picks. Late-round picks many times let you move up in the fourth round. Let you move up. Howie's moved up in the fourth round, I don't know how many times, or the third round by trading fifth-round picks, sixth-round picks, seventh-round picks.
I'll say this. It's not to the extent of like Kyle Schwarber's contract. I'll worry about the fourth through seventh rounds of the draft after February.
I got you.
And if these guys help you,
I got you, and it'd be great. What I'm just saying is this has been a lot of scrambling.
Yeah.
A lot of scrambling on this roster, which we appreciate Howie's always working.
Right, absolutely.
And he's always got
you
to
could
cook
just
it.
sit on your hands.
But everyone's just like, it's only a sixth-round pick. It's only a seventh-round pick. It's only a fifth, whatever. These picks matter. These picks matter because it limits your flexibility.
Sneak us
at
in
the
one
top.
text message here.
Okay, because all the texts we have are going to get us talking. Steve says it's the same old tired story with Joel Embiid. Can't make a clutch shot in the fourth quarter. Has Embiid ever made a game-winning shot for this team? Because I'm done with this guy.
Toronto in the postseason in that game 3, which was an awesome, one of the most awesome memories I'll always think of Embiid.
And game-winning
was that
shots
shot.
aren't also always at the buzzer. They could be iced shots with 5 seconds left.
And by the way, I think I saw him beat Utah or somebody just a couple years ago.
Come on.
Yeah, he's done that. But look,
that's fatigue, and I understand it.
But the fatigue is the primary opinion here in town.
Right. I totally understand it. It's not like,
I get you.
Put out lies. All right, coming up next, did all these moves for the Eagles and around the NFL do anything for the odds? Apparently, it didn't do much for the Eagles at all. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Some big NFL moves. I'm Connor Thomas, and deadline day came and went yesterday. The Eagles quiet on the actual day, but they did acquire Michael Carter II, Jair Alexander, 2 corners, and Jalen Phillips, an edge rusher from the Dolphins. The NFL wasn't quiet yesterday. Quinnen Williams goes to the Cowboys from the Jets. Sauce Gardner goes from the Jets to the Colts. There are some big moves around the NFL. Howie Roseman met with media yesterday, and he talked about the philosophy of the Eagles heading into this trade deadline.
I think it first starts with an overall philosophy that we could upgrade every spot. With that mentality, looking for any edges. So if there's incremental difference in a player, we owe it to our team, to our fans, to our building, to our owner to do that.
Now the focus turns to a Monday night matchup with the Packers up in Lambeau. The Sixers blew a 24-point lead in Chicago last night, losing to the Bulls. Tyrese Maxey at 39. Sixers did not score from the field for the final 6 minutes of the game. They're back-to-back tonight in Cleveland against the Cavs. 7 p.m. tip-off you can hear here on the Fanatic. Flyers fought off a comeback after giving up a 3-goal lead, taking down the Canadiens in a shootout. They are off tonight. We'll talk to Adam Schefter at 7:55. Jeff McClain of the Inquirer at 8:25. This update is brought to you by Corona. This Saturday, November 8th, join me, Connor Thomas, at Patty Wax on Roosevelt Boulevard from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. with $4 Corona bottles and Modelo drafts. Stop by for your chance to win Sixers tickets before they take on the Raptors. Sponsored by Corona. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll get back to our text line here about the Sixers and the Eagles. Our Eagles discussion. Do you truly realize how good we have it with this organization, with Howie Roseman, with Jeffrey Lurie, right? I'm not necessarily talking about the players. Those are the guys that obviously get the players here, but either via draft, via trade, or what Jeffrey Lurie does as an owner with the upfront money.
It's amazing.
And just, giving signing bonuses.
Dallas won't do that.
No, they won't do it.
And Jerry Jones is far richer than Jeffrey Lurie.
Oh, yeah, it's not even close. He's got so much more money.
And it doesn't matter. Jeff Lurie is in it to win it.
And then our Sixers topic, how patient are you willing to be to see how this plays out, or do you believe you already know the flaw? And we all know who we're going to talk about when we talk about that, and it's Joel Embiid. Now, on our YouTube chat, one of our great listeners, Money Mar, said,
"What's up, Mar?
Please stop talking about Embiid Toronto game for almost 10 seasons ago."
Okay, look.
That's like bringing up when Kobe shot 2 air balls against Utah.
Okay, but somebody can't
say that he's never hit it.
He's never. If you're going to talk in definitives, the guy never has hit a big shot. BS. He has, and he's been. I thought the Knicks series for Embiid a couple years ago was one where it's almost like Rob Thompson. I can be a real Embiid critic. I watched that Knicks series with Joel Embiid coming back from injury, and I walked away going, dude, that's the best I've ever seen him in a playoff situation, and complete admiration for what he did during that series. And I hear people talk about that series as being disappointing for Embiid, and I'm like, I don't know what you were watching.
Right.
I thought he was fantastic almost that entire series. And so I think some people get caught up in, I'm just out. I'm out. And believe me, I've fallen into that trap myself too, so I understand it. But you got to be realistic.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out how it compares to other players. There is such a thing as the clutch stat. It's like one of the newer analytic ones, right? And it's when you hit a shot, how much time's left in the game, what's the score, all that kind of stuff. And I
don't remember a lot with Embiid with that, so I can understand where somebody's saying, stop using that example.
And so the reason why I'm doing this, there's a reason why. Obviously, this year they're still trying to figure things out. Last year sucked. He didn't play, right? It's been a long time since we realized this. His MVP season, he shot 58% in the clutch. I'm going to try to find out what that compares to.
Okay.
I don't know if the league high was 70%.
I would think that sounds pretty good.
That sounds pretty good. And clutch is not just at the buzzer game-winning shot. It's you're up 3 with 10 seconds left. A bucket makes it a 2-possession game.
Seals a victory.
I know that he has done that, but I also understand the fatigue is settling in, and I totally understand where people come from.
Though, and this is not, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, I think you have underestimated the fatigue. Because I think you and Connor looked at me and saying, like, what I said to you, I
just don't agree with it or see it.
I think it's the prevailing opinion.
I'm sure.
I
know that it is.
I think it's almost vast majority.
I just push back on it because I think there's a lot of rewritten history too.
I think you guys are going to be. You'll be among the last to turn off the lights.
Hell yeah, man.
This is the other thing. Whether it's 70, 80, 90, 99% people fatigued with Embiid, we've been dealing with the Embiid fatigue for a while now.
Dude, he's been playing since 2016.
We're used to it. We don't even see the percentage
He was
anymore.
drafted in 2014.
And
I was in college.
And some of the fatigue is unfair. Some of the fatigue has been earned by his own behaviors.
And I've never ran from that
If he had just been – I said the other day, imagine if Embiid had come into the league with the professionalism, the enthusiasm, the approach of what McCain did last year, what Edgecombe's doing this year, what Maxi's done. If he had come in with that level of professionalism, that level of dedication to, I want to be great. It would have been great. You don't think so?
Sounds like $1.
What?
Sounds like $1.
No, it's not. I'm asking you a question.
Talking about old Embiid
No,
stuff?
it's asking you a question.
I'm just checking.
I'm asking you a question. What would it be? I asked you a question.
Obviously, it'd be better. Yeah.
Well, that's where part of this comes from. Is people are saying, "Hey, what's going on here? How long are they going to keep going? We can go to this well. It's going to change. Leaning on Joel Embiid is the way to go. I don't think it is. And I think that people are very fatigued with it. And they're saying, stop doubling down on this strategy.
Well, they're doubling down because he's under contract.
contract, which was.
What do we got on the text line? Then I need you to give the updated odds if
Yes.
they've changed at all. What do we got on the text line, Connor?
All right, Colby in Central PA checks in on the Eagles and says, indeed, we can be thankful for Howie being on top of his game, making moves and filling holes. The additions on defense make me feel better and can hopefully rejuvenate that side of the ball.
Okay, what moves do you think makes him feel better? Let's do something.
Jalen Phillips.
Now, Phillips is one that
I think-
definitely.
honestly, I think that's-
we're all in agreement.
I think that's
Jalen
the only,
Phillips
I think
does.
it's the only one.
Okay, give me any others.
I think that's the only one.
Michael
Wait.
Carter has something in the tank. We just don't know where he fits.
Dude, I don't know if he has something in the tag. He has not been the same since his injury.
He hasn't been the same, and he has a lot of doubters. But he can maybe prove the doubters wrong.
Sure.
But I said if anybody's counting on it, I'm going okay.
But-
that's sort of pie in the sky to me.
What I'm saying by comparison is Michael Carter will have an Eagles jersey worn on Monday night in Green Bay.
Okay.
I can't say the same for Jair Alexander for certain.
Right.
No, you probably won't.
Yeah.
I mean, and Baltimore, a very smart organization, was just like, it's not working. So whatever was going on, they were like, it's not working. And they didn't see the value in keeping him around.
Yeah.
So
All right.
we'll see.
Give us the updated odds there, please, Johnny.
Yeah, this sort of gave me a little pause yesterday. So I'm thinking and going, okay, they made these moves. And so it actually goes to our last texter, Connor. The idea of like, okay, the Eagles went out and plugged some holes, and I'm feeling good about the defense and everything. What do you think the Eagles' Super Bowl odds to win were before the flurry of moves in the past week, the three additions?
I believe I saw it.
It was
but-
8-1.
Yeah, plus 800.
Okay, it was 8-1
Okay. And that's to win the Super Bowl.
to win the Super Bowl. After those three additions on defense, after the trade deadline, what do you think the Eagles' odds are? Did you look, Connor?
I'm going to guess by the setup of the segment, it's plus 800.
Yeah, it moved the needle nowhere.
Okay.
It didn't move. In fact, they got jumped by the Rams. The Rams moved even with them on most books. Moved even with them yesterday on most books. So the Eagles actually lost ground, not gained ground. And they lost ground to Detroit in the past week, who didn't even win a game, which I don't understand.
Yeah, it's
but it's
weird.
where money's going.
Like
To me, the Eagles now 8-1 tied with the Rams. Lions now 9-1. Packers now 11-1.
see, this is one of those. This doesn't do much for me.
Okay.
And I know that we do a lot of gambling talk on the show because that's just the way sports is right now. But
And trash talk, too. We do a lot of trash
All-
talk with gambling.
all I can say is they improved upon their defending Super Bowl champion roster that's 6-2. Like Jalen Phillips is an improvement. Period.
Oh, Phillips is an improvement.
Right. I don't see what the Lions do anything to improve their roster yet.
No, and their odds they've closed the gap on the Eagles.
I don't think the Rams did anything to improve their roster yesterday.
No,
The
but they
Eagles-
also picked up in the odds.
Sure.
They picked up on the Eagles.
But the Eagles improved a team that's already 6-2 at a position where I thought they most necessarily needed to improve.
And that's fair.
And that's all. Like
That's very fair.
I can't always look at what are the sharps the sharps telling us.
The Sharps
what
are
is,
telling us. It
what is
just is-
Vegas telling
It
us?
is interesting though that we have people though, and in our fan base, and many of us as Eagle fans, I do it myself at times, that are like, "Well, Howie's cooking, man. Look at these additions. It's really helping." And Vegas is going ho hum.
Well, maybe they see it. Listen, I just watched a team that was plus 6,000 preseason take the Los Angeles Dodgers to the extra innings in Game 7. Vegas misses sometimes. Maybe the
Yeah.
Eagles fans are right.
No, they did. I mean, they missed. It's the idea
Is anyone really saying look? I know that there have been a few Jair Alexander texts that
yes,
are really
there've
excited.
been a ton of Jair. People are acting like Jair Alexander is going to come in here and be plugged in and play. He couldn't even sniff the field.
Hey, you say a ton. I'm gonna hold you to what you always say. Where are you seeing this? Social media?
Social media celebrated Jair Alexander like it was a win.
You say what's the number
That is
of
it.
people that are on social media?
That is the truth. That is absolutely
I don't know.
truth.
I don't know how many people actually.
You don't think that was the prevailing opinion out there? That I've heard nothing but even from our listeners.
Our
that-
video on Saturday got a lot of negative pushback.
Oh, they
from
did.
it. So I don't, to me, Jalen Phillips is the only guy of note where you're going to talk about whether or not he helps or hurts the team. Everybody else, we're guys. Respectfully.
Yeah, I heard Ray Dunn went out and bought some Jair Alexander bots
I'm
and
sure
put
he-
them out
I'm
there.
sure he
that
did.
could have been.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next.
Good thought, Connor.
We have Adam Schefter joining us at 7:55. We did not think it. We did not want it. A.J. Brown being traded before the deadline yesterday.
Did he tweet that?
Well, were there phone calls made to the Philadelphia Eagles? We get to ask Shefty that coming up at 7:55. But first, coming up next, Howie Roseman was asked about A.J. Brown, and then he went on Dancing with the Stars. It was Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Let me tell you about your house. YouTube chat, were there phone calls made? Chunas is really digging deep here. It's probably a good bet that phone calls were made. Yes.
What do you mean phone calls are made?
For A.J. Brown.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm curious how serious some of the conversations may have gotten. Now, again, on this show, we made it abundantly clear that we were not looking for A.J. Brown to be traded, nor did we expect A.J. Brown to be traded. There are some shows in this city, as we talked about earlier, that did have those conversations, and there's people that...
And they perpetuated
Listen
something
to
that
it.
wasn't going on.
Yeah.
The Eagles made it clear over and over again. They were not trading A.J. Brown. Now, MBD, just to his point, were there calls made? Yes, to the Eagles. To the Eagles.
Yeah.
There weren't calls because you take a call. If you're an executive, you take the call.
Blockbuster deal.
You've
Remember,
got it.
that
You've
was
got
the
it.
term that was being
You
brought
have
up.
to be able to take the call. But because you always want to take the call, you never know what stupid deal someone may be willing to do.
Sure.
You guys are too young, but the Herschel Walker deal was one of the stupidest trades ever made in NFL history, and Jimmy Johnson couldn't wait to make it.
Right.
Couldn't wait to make it. Like, it's like, are you kidding me? So there were calls made. They were not made by the Eagles. The Eagles were not out there going, let's shop AJ.
Right, exactly.
But they were willing to listen.
And so I'm curious, when Shefty joins us in, a little over 10 minutes, I wonder how many phone calls, and were the phone calls,
Substantive.
yeah.
Yeah, did anything even potentially get rolled?
Now, the reason why we even bring that up is because yesterday Howie Roseman was asked about A.J. Brown during his press conference. And again, he did a little dancing with the stars because he couldn't necessarily just answer the question. Take a listen.
Well, would really like to keep this about the guys we acquired, but I think that when you're trying to be a great team, it's hard to trade great players. And A.J. Brown's a great player. He wears the C for a reason. He's an important part of this team, of this organization. He cares about winning. He cares about his teammates. And I think that when you're a team like ours that is looking forward to an opportunity to compete for a championship, just don't get rid of the guys like that. And so I feel very lucky to have him on our team and excited about the second half of the season with him.
What a great answer. What a great answer by Howie Roseman. But he didn't answer the question. He didn't answer the question. I believe that if a wild, crazy right deal came, they would have traded him. I really believe it. Hearing that. And I do believe now, I'm completely convinced that this offseason is going to be about trading AJ.
Well, yeah, this offseason is going to be interesting, right?
Because they're not going to put up with this. They're not going to put up with this nonsense any longer. If it can, now, does it have a chance to fix itself?
It
Sure.
absolutely has a chance to fix itself. And who knows? Maybe A.J. Brown comes out this next game and has 6 catches for 120 yards and Eagles win. That means he got both of what he wants.
Well, no, he's only going to be
His
happy.
and a win.
But he's only going to be happy as long as he's getting what he wants.
Right, 6 catches, 120 yards, and a win.
Which is the difference, though, between a great teammate talking it and being it.
Here's what's interesting with A.J. Brown. And it's, you can – depends on how you take it, right?
And he's very popular there. He's very popular. His
absolutely.
teammates love him.
He doesn't want to go to a team where he's going to have 8 catches, 150 yards, and lose, right? Like, he still values winning. It's just he wants to win almost the way he wants it to go.
It was exactly the text that he put out after the Super Bowl. That's what he was saying. He wasn't happy because he didn't get enough of the attention. He didn't get it. He wasn't a big enough part of it to him. And he wants to be that guy. Look. Part of me admires it. Part of me goes, dude, seriously, you're on one of the greatest teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you just won a Super Bowl, and you've been to 2 in the last 3. What the hell what's the problem?
Yeah. Look,
Work it out.
I hope it gets worked out because I don't want him gone. I want A.J. Brown to go down as the best wide receiver in Eagles franchise history.
And we believe he would.
He would.
If he stayed here another 3 or 4 years, yes, I believe he would.
I mean, look, this year, obviously, the numbers are way down. But I believe he could still go down as one of the better, if not the best wide receiver in Eagles franchise history if we just cut the crap a little bit.
Right, exactly.
All right, what else we got on the text line, Connor?
All right, so we've got a check-in here, and this texter says, I'm willing to be somewhat patient when it comes to the Sixers. I think Nick Nurse and the team are all trying to determine whether they're going to have MVP caliber Embiid or a lesser version of him. Early season results show this team is capable of getting out and running and playing fast, but they need proof before they fully shift that with Embiid on the
All
floor.
right, I'm going to say this now. You're not going to get MVP Joel Embiid back.
Strong agree.
All right? But that does not mean – and so I agree with the majority of that text. Like,
okay.
I want to see how this plays out first. Now, I'm not waiting to see, will I get MVP Joel Embiid back? No, I'm not.
That's too late. No, we're
I'm not
past-
expecting
that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
I truly believe.
I'm wondering, can I get efficient Joel Embiid in the half court? Much like Jalen Hurts, right? Jalen Hurts had a very efficient game against the Chiefs. He threw for 101 yards. It's not like he threw for 300 yards against the Chiefs, but we celebrated the next day
No question we
his
did.
efficiency. Can Joel Embiid, when it is the half-court offense, be efficient? And then when it is a rebound, can they go on the break with the young players that they have and score points that way?
And can Joel be the impact player on the defensive end that he's been?
I hope so.
I question it.
He played some pretty good defense down the stretch
He did.
last
Well,
night.
the one thing is, Connor, I think protecting at the rim, I'd agree with you. He just looks plodding to me.
He's not
What more
going.
do you want him to do?
He's not going from one block to the other side.
No.
That's fair.
And
It's plotting
and look,
to
and
me.
that's not a good
and
thing.
that's different than Embiid that we've known in
Right,
the
like
past.
Adem Bona can do that.
Correct.
He's got young legs, and he's that kind of a big, right? But then Adem Bona playing 30 minutes, you realize how much of a difference there is, right? You know, we'll see how this plays out. I'm willing to be patient before I get to some determination that this is not going to work out. Let's go to Derek in North Philly. Derek, you're on the Fanatic.
Y'all killing me. Y'all killing me, man. Listen, I couldn't even sleep because I already knew this was going to be a topic. Nick Nurse has to run plays. You see when he ran the play for Grimes, it worked. You can't do a high pick and roll and Maxey don't have legs and he's shooting threes, okay?
Yeah, because he's been playing 40 minutes every night, which is what we talked about.
Okay, so if Embiid is sitting down or he's not here, right? We got 1,000 guards on our team. Right? If you got to run against these teams that benches are deep, they're not going to be able to run and gun the whole game. So they have to find out. He should have ran plays, which he did, and Grimes was open.
Derek, I'm just trying to figure out who you're talking to because I've said all this.
No, I know y'all agree, but the fans out here always want to get rid of people. Oh, let's get rid of Embiid. Let's get rid of Jalen Hurts when he's struggling. Like, come on, man. We're going to find out against these next 4 games. We got Cleveland, right, next?
Yes.
And then we got the Knicks.
Cleveland Knicks. Yeah, this is going to tell you a lot.
This is going to be the stretch that I'll sip the Kool-Aid. If these young guys get through this and they can give me 2 wins or 3 wins, all right, I'm sipping the Kool-Aid. For now, they better stop talking about getting rid of Embiid. You see how big these wings are on these 4 teams we great play? We're going to find out what running gun is.
Yeah,
and what playing defense is.
I think, and something that I'm trying to do, and thanks for the call, Derek, and I can't tell people how to act or what to do. The message I'm just trying to push is let's be a little patient. We really celebrated the 4-0 start, and now we're losing our minds because they're 1-2.
I don't think anybody's losing their minds. I think people are saying. I think people are saying, "I've seen this movie."
But you have.
We have a fire Nick Nurse text.
Oh, well, that's crazy.
People are losing their minds.
That's crazy.
By the way, it's
that person is losing.
Cavs, Raptors, Pistons, Celtics, Pistons.
Okay,
your next 5 games.
That's going to tell you all you need to know.
Pretty interesting stretch that you got coming up. All right, speaking of coming up, next, Adam Schefter will react to the NFL trade deadline and the Eagles moving forward. You're on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, guys, it's Connor Thomas. Come hang out with me this Saturday, November 8th at Patty Wax on Roosevelt Boulevard in the great Northeast from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. before the Sixers take on the Raptors. We're going to have an awesome pregame party going with $4 Corona bottles and Modelo drafts. It's the perfect way to get ready for tip-off. And you know the best part? You could score free Sixers tickets. Yeah, it was a rough game last night. You know what else happened? The birthday boy Tyrese Maxey dropped 39 again. He's on an MVP caliber push. It's early, but he's exciting just in and of himself. And Jared McCain came back. There's some great things and great reasons to get down to the Xfinity Mobile Arena. So first, you got to not miss your shot, and you got to come to Patty Wax on Roosevelt Boulevard. We've got some great stuff going at the Fanatic Sixers pregame party, so bring your friends, grab some cold drinks, and get ready to cheer on the squad. For all the details, visit 975thefanatic.com, and we'll see you this Saturday at Patty Wax on Roosevelt Boulevard, sponsored by Corona. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Eagles roster's getting set. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles were quiet on actual trade deadline day, even though they went out and got Michael Carter II, Jalen Phillips, and Jair Alexander prior to the trade deadline. But the NFL was making some moves. Quinnen Williams got moved from the Jets to the Cowboys. Sauce Gardner got moved from the Jets to the Colts. Yeah, fire sale up in New York. And Howie Roseman met with media yesterday, and he talked about the Eagles' philosophy when it came to the trade deadline.
I feel like when there's opportunities to be aggressive for the right players, we're not going to sit on our hands. I don't think that you have great success success without taking great risks at times. They got to make sense, and so we can't be afraid to fail.
Now the focus turns to a Monday night matchup with the Green Bay Packers up in Lambeau. The Sixers blew a 24-point lead up in Chicago last night, loses the Bulls in bad fashion. Tyrese Maxey had 39, but the Sixers did not score from the field for the final 6 minutes of the game, and now they got a tough back-to-back as they head to Cleveland to play the Cavs. The 7 p.m. tip-off tonight. You can hear that game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers fought off a comeback after giving up a 3-goal lead. They took down the Canadiens in a shootout last night in Montreal. They are off tonight. Adam Schefter of ESPN joins us coming up next to react to the NFL trade deadline. This update is brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone with AutoZone. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5 The Fanatic.
One Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. And joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline, you know his phone was buzzing yesterday. Comcast Business, every day in business, a big day like Comcast Business. Get you ready for what's next. From ESPN, our man Adam Schefter joins us. Shefty, good morning. Happy day after the NFL trade deadline.
Good morning. It honestly feels like I just finished my college finals yesterday, and you have a couple of weeks before you start classes again. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I can only imagine the phone was probably going off the hook yesterday. Slower day for the Eagles, at least what's been reported. We know that Jalen Phillips was acquired the day prior. So let's start there. Eagles giving up a third-round pick to the Miami Dolphins for Jalen Phillips. I know injury concern has been there for Phillips, but it's a return of Vic Fangio. Was this sort of a deal all along for the Eagles the weeks leading up to the trade deadline?
Yeah, they were working on him for weeks, and it was somebody that interested them for weeks, and it was somebody that they felt could really provide some instant pass rush. And obviously it's a rental, and it's a third-round pick for a rental, but they really didn't care. Like, they felt like this guy is good enough to step in there and provide some juice and a real surge on defense. And obviously Vic Fangio knows him well, and he played very well for Vic before he got hurt. And if Jalen Phillips stays healthy, if he stays healthy for the Eagles, and he's healthy now, then he's going to be a force for them and going to make the defense that much better. And, again, if he leaves as a free agent, they'll get back a comp pick. So, maybe it costs you a round or two in a draft ahead of 1 year, but in the grand scheme of things, that's worth the roll of the dice.
Okay, so you know what everybody's talking about, though, and it's one of the things that you tweeted out yesterday afternoon. As expected, A.J. Brown was not traded by the Philadelphia Eagles. But the question is, were there still teams sniffing, and was Howie taking calls from teams sniffing around?
I truly do not believe there was anything there. Could somebody have called and said, hey, is A.J. Brown available? Maybe. Not that I'm aware of. It certainly could have. It doesn't matter. They weren't going to trade him. It wasn't going to happen. So we keep talking about it.
Right.
John, I mean.
Oh, no. It means because, well, I mean, with Adam, I got to tell you this now. You say we keep talking about it. When you put out that tweet yesterday that A.J. Brown wasn't traded as expected, you're getting people to talk about it. So you're feeding the beast. Now, come on.
I didn't. No. When I put that out there, that was my way of saying, can we stop talking about it?
No, I understand.
As expected, he was not traded.
I know.
Because there had been a lot of conversation about whether or not he would be traded, whether or not they would listen, what would happen. And that tweet was, here you go, he's not being traded. Can we move on?
I got you.
That's what that tweet was.
We can move on for like 8 weeks.
Yeah, it is. It's where it is. But it's still that fed the beast yesterday. Because I don't see. Did you talk about any other players not getting traded around the NFL yesterday?
Yeah, I tweeted out that the Dolphins made no more moves. I was texting with Trey Hendrickson saying, could I put? He goes, I don't want any more attention. I'm like, okay. So by the way, if I texted A.J. Brown, maybe he would have said the same thing. I don't know. But so I would have put out that Trey Hendrickson wasn't traded either. There were certain people, certain players, in which there was an incredible amount of noise around. Noise.
Okay.
And that's what it is. It's just noise. So, there was noise around the Dolphins. There was noise around A.J. Brown. There was noise around Trey Hendrickson. And in the end, that's what it was. It was just noise. That's it.
Shefty, over the weekend, the Eagles acquired Jair Alexander. Curious, what are the Eagles actually expecting out of Jair Alexander? Because we've had the fans that go, what the hell are they doing bringing this guy in? We've also had the fans saying, wow, we just brought in a tremendous cornerback, not realizing he's been a healthy scratch a lot this season. So what are the Eagles actually expecting out of Jair Alexander for the remainder of this season?
Well, I think this. I think what did they give up for him? They gave up essentially a pick flop. They gave up a round in the draft. So here's a guy that's gone to the Pro Bowl that at one point has been one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. And I do know, in talking to the Ravens this summer, and this is what's unusual and interesting to me, is that I remember talking, they're like, our best cornerback has been Jair Alexander. Like, I remember hearing that from a couple of different people over the course of the summer. And then, for whatever reason, he didn't play. So why that was, how that happened, I don't know. But he didn't get on the field. Some things happened there, just as they did in Green Bay. And look, based on his history, the chances that something's going to happen, he's not going to get on the field. But there's also the side where the guy's been a great player when he's been out there. So which one are they getting? I don't know. That's up to them. Put him in the system, put him in that environment, put him in that organization, and let's see whether they get the great Alexander for a pick flip or whether whatever happened in Baltimore happens again. And I don't know how that's going to turn out. But here's the thing. If it turns out that it's the Alexander in Baltimore that couldn't get on the field, then it cost you a round from round 6 to 7. So what's the big deal?
The Eagles considered, I saw where, and I know you don't concern yourself with Vegas, but it didn't move the needle at all, the moves that they made. Is the chatter, when you talk to people around the NFL, do they see anybody as being head of the class in the NFC? Do they see teams all together? And more importantly, how are the Eagles perceived when you talk to people that aren't Eagles people?
I just think that people feel like this is one of the more wide-open years that the NFL has had in a long time. And you can make an argument for a lot of different teams. Seattle got some people's attention on Sunday night and hasn't gotten the attention it deserves and still doesn't get the attention it deserves. Sam Darnold is an MVP candidate and playing at an incredibly high level. And there's a team with an underrated defense that just added Rashid Shaheed to go along with Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's been the best receiver in the league this season. So Seattle's not getting the attention it deserves. The Rams, Philly saw the Rams early this season, and the Rams beat them up physically, and the Eagles happened to win the game. You got the Lions, who you know are going to be tough. The Packers, I don't understand what's going on with them right now. They're too inconsistent. The Eagles are there, and the Buccaneers, I still think are a force. So, like the NFC, you could look at half dozen teams and say, would you be surprised with any one of these teams coming out of the conference? The answer is no. Every one of them, Philadelphia, Detroit, Tampa, Rams, Seattle, every one of them is good enough for the conference of the Super Bowl.
Now, Shefty, I'm going to ask the exact same question as John just did, but instead of the top teams in the NFC, can we focus on the Dallas Cowboys? What are people around the league saying about the Dallas Cowboys and I want to start not just yesterday. I want to go back to the previous night when Jerry Jones is talking about I made a trade. Then after the game, he's saying I didn't make a trade. And then all of a sudden they make a marginal move for a linebacker, but then they made the big move for Quinnen Williams, and yet we know that the Cowboys aren't necessarily close.
Well, what's odd to me is if you're going to trade for Quinnen Williams, like he's a great player and he's going to help you for years to come. So you can't argue that. But I would have liked to have seen him get that done 3 weeks ago. I would have liked to see him get that done 2 weeks ago. Like, why did we wait? Why did we wait till trade deadline day? Now, maybe the Jets wouldn't have traded Quinnen Williams 3 weeks ago, but they were still winless at that point. So go make your moves. We knew he was going to make a move since the summer when he said after they traded Micah that day, we're not done yet. We're going to make more moves. Well, I would have liked to have seen Quinnen Williams in uniform on Monday night in a game they could have used him against Arizona because now they've lost that game, and now they head into the bye 3-5-1. They don't play again, I believe, till Monday Night Football, a week from Monday, against the Raiders. And so, to me, it's a little late for this season to make that move. 3-5-1. They're going to have what's their record down the stretch that they have to finish with to make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, they're not making
the playoffs. Yeah.
By the way, the Eagles have a magic number of 6 to win the division with 9 to play. It's crazy.
Yeah, and so Dallas, okay, so Dallas is starting to work on its defense for the future. But, again, it's a little late for this year. I think that the Cowboys felt like they'd beat the Cardinals on Monday night. They'd be 4-4-1.
Right.
Going into a bye with a Monday night game against the Raiders that puts you on track to be 5-4-1. And at 5-4-1, the playoffs are right there for you, it seems like. Now they're in a spot where Now, you're saying to me they're not making the playoffs, and I'm saying, they got to win every game here to make the playoffs. So it's going to be a tough spot for them to do it. But they have added, Quinn Williams is a great player. I was on the phone with a GM yesterday, and I was kind of going over the compensation that the Cowboys gave up for Quinn Williams. Like, that seems like a lot. And he goes, not really, not for a player like that. And I said, okay, well, there you go.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
So, Shefty, Egg McMuffin this morning?
Was that it? What was that? A breakfast sandwich?
Yeah, what were we cooking with this morning,
Were you
Shefty?
shredding documents? There was something. What was that you were maneuvering?
I was dropping off my daughter at school. She brought in donuts for all of her classes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
What a good dad.
So she was getting the bag out of the car as I'm talking to you guys. So
Is she going to keep you?
Assist her with her.
Is she going to keep you? Is she going to keep you on the payroll when her media career really takes off?
I hope so, but we'll see. That's her choice. Like,
I'm telling you, she's the
she
rising
did sign-
star in the family. I mean, so let's be
Hey,
honest.
you know what? She's in 11th grade, and she did sign a 3-year extension this year with Nickelodeon. It takes her through her freshman year of college.
I
There you
can't
go.
get a 3-year extension here.
But does she have a curfew though?
Yeah, we try to tell her all the time. Like on the weekends, we'd like her home earlier rather than later.
She says, "Call my agent."
Yeah, exactly. Shefty, listen, man, we
Yeah.
appreciate the time. Enjoy your
Good job, Adam.
little break, I guess. Not that your life ever really slows down, but now that the trade deadline is done, you can enjoy the second half of just mainly football the rest of the way.
Thanks, Adam.
Until people start getting fired, like that's which we're probably a couple of weeks away from.
Yeah,
that,
not
right?
Mike McDaniel, apparently. I saw
Exactly.
your
No,
tweet.
no.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
He'll be on for the rest of the season. That's one less thing I have to worry about.
There you
Well, I'm happy about
Thanks,
that
buddy.
for you, not for Dolphins fans. Thanks, Adam Schefter. There he is
Thank
on
you,
the
Adam.
Comcast Business Hotline. I have no idea how
So
the
it was
Dolphins,
those big bags,
Yeah.
those crinkly bags,
I don't know how the Dolphins.
because they're
Around.
not gonna have more mayhem added. Maybe they don't think there's a coach on the staff who's ready to be a head coach that they can promote into it.
Yeah,
It's a lot. There's a lot to do as a head coach. That they may feel there's nobody qualified to do it.
I saw what's the guy from the former Colts, Jeff Saturday. I saw him go out there
Yeah.
and be a coach for 5 minutes.
I saw him as a high school coach in Georgia, and he wasn't that great.
It's embarrassing what they're doing in Miami right now. All right, coming up next is today's headlines with Connor Thomas here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, every NFL. On Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Don't forget that tomorrow will be the next announcement for the Unfiltered High School Athlete Performance of the Week. Ricky Bone, Bill Colarulo are looking for local high school athletes that had a standout performance. If the high school athlete in your life had an amazing game, match, track meet, or any kind of performance, get some recognition on the radio and TV. Just go to 975thefanatic.com/unfiltered to nominate them, include their school, and what made their performance so huge. They announce the winners every single Thursday. Time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with the Connor Thomas.
Brought to us by Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. We're starting out with a big-time basketball bucket because Bethesda, if you're not familiar, in women's college basketball, they had a big-time game yesterday, and they got a big-time bucket. Take a listen to the great call.
Program history.
Oh, my goodness. You said victory, and Cheyenne Moreo gets the three-pointer and gets this entire crowd in the Premier American Credit Union Arena is clapping for them. Everybody excited. They finally scored a bucket.
So the story behind that is that they were playing CSU Northridge, and half of Bethesda's team was out with the flu.
Oh, no.
And they were down 72-0 before that call you just heard, with 4 minutes and 23 seconds left in the third. They went a full first half and most of the third quarter without scoring. So a big-time three-pointer to cut the lead down somewhere Chris Paul smiles.
I'm guessing none of those players are making the W.
Why wouldn't you?
No.
Well, you never know. I've seen some of the games. Would they forfeit? Would a forfeit have been better? Or do you put the program through the embarrassment of that?
That's the best part about the story. They came back and won. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, forfeit would have been better.
I mean, seriously, forfeit.
By the way, when you say Bethesda, I first think of the gaming company. I did not know there was a Bethesda.
I think of Bethesda, Maryland.
That's
right.
Is
it Bethesda, Maryland?
Yeah, the proving grounds are down there.
Okay.
Bethesda is in Maryland, by the way. The gaming company as well.
Really?
About that.
I think it's
Learn
probably
something new
named
every
after the
day.
city, and maybe not the other way around. But yeah, shout out Bethesda for that big time
Well,
three-pointer.
they're in Rockville, Maryland, Connor.
Yeah, well, it's all
Pipe
close.
down over there.
Don't you talk to me about Maryland, all right? I'll tell you how to be Temple. You won't tell me how to be Maryland. Next, we're going to talk about, speaking of colleges, college football playoff had their first projection come out yesterday, so we'll run through the teams real quick. The top overall seed, Ohio State, and then it goes in order: Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, BYU. Then we've got Texas Tech, Oregon, Notre Dame, and Memphis rounding things out.
Ohio State should not be number
Virginia.
one. Absolutely should not be number one based on what we've seen. It should be, to me, it should be Texas A&M or Indiana. They are the teams that should be number one right now. Whether they will be number one when it's all over is another question. But they've, at this point, earned it more than Ohio State's resume has earned it.
I just find it so amazing how much things have changed since all the preseason predictions.
Oh,
I
it's
know
amazing.
it's hard, but this year has been drastic. And I know it's NIL. I know it's transfer portals. It's also overvaluing guys like Arch Manning, thinking that he's going to be
remember
Peyton
those summer
Manning.
conversations.
Yeah, we talked about it. And we're coming out on top on this one. Clay Klubnik with Clemson.
There's
guys that people freaking loved. Oh, they're going to be the next big quarterback.
People were all on Arch Manning. And I just kept saying, if you're a great quarterback and you're a freshman, you hit the field. If you're a sophomore and you're a great quarterback talent, you hit the field. There's a reason he wasn't hitting the field, but people just went by the last name. And I would root for the kid to get his career on the right track and that it works out. But come on, it's not just about your last name.
Yeah. What else you got?
Yeah, we also have our replay.
Oh, wait, can we play something then? If we're going right to replay?
Sure.
You go to the sound for updates, or no, my folder.
Okay.
I want to tell.
What are you doing now? Throwing him a curveball?
Because I could see this being Connor Thomas.
You could see this being Connor Thomas.
All right, it's audio for Nooner is in my folder 2025 from yesterday. We're doing live radio here on the fly. I didn't realize that you were only going to have two stories there. But yesterday there was 2 days ago there was a Division II college basketball game in Tennessee. I forget the two schools.
Okay.
This guy had a fast break dunk attempt. First off, he took 7 steps.
Well, the NBA's allowing that now, so they might as well get him prepared.
Now, remember, college basketball, like there's the kids doing play-by-play. They're trying to make a name for themselves.
Sure, absolutely.
Take a listen to the audio, and I'll explain what happened.
Run out, and he misses the dunk, and he's been injured on that last play. And I'm sorry.
So these guys doing the college broadcast, we're trying to be as professional as possible. The guy missed the dunk and faked an injury.
He faked an injury?
I saw this video, yeah.
He started grabbing his hamstring and like limping off the court, and everybody in the stands started falling on the floor pretending to fake a leg injury because he missed the dunk.
Really?
And these poor kids, they're trying to do a broadcast. I find that funny too. Like when you miss and now all of a sudden it's ow.
Well, how about the baseball players looking at their glove?
Oh yeah, I love that.
When
too.
they commit an error, they commit an error and they look at their.
Hey, been there.
Trey,
I've looked at the glove.
Trey Turner is a look at the glove guy like I've never seen.
He is.
Trey
Dude,
Turner
you're right.
loves.
He does it all the time.
Trey Turner stares at his glove like, dude, don't
He
stare
is
at the
a glove
glove.
starer.
Someone bring him a mirror.
Sometimes you just got to look at the glove. How have you forsaken me? Oh, glove.
But I just.
That's incredible.
The missed dunk, ow, I hurt my leg, as if it had anything to do with the missed dunk.
Yeah, it's not good.
Poor guy, and he's getting clowned by everybody.
Well, I'm sure everything becomes a viral moment nowadays.
All right. Good job, Connor.
Good job, man.
Coming up next, we did not speak to him yesterday. We wanted to wait till post-trade deadline. Our man Jeff McClain will join us. He was a part of that Howie Roseman press conference as well. So we'll get Jeff's thoughts on the trade deadline that came and went for the Philadelphia Eagles and what it means moving forward. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Are you looking for an engagement ring? We'll stop everything because Benari Jewelers wants to make sure that if you're getting engaged this holiday season, you're not missing out on the best deal of the year. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the biggest sale on engagement rings and wedding bands at Benari Jewelers in Exeter in Newtown Square. It's a can't-miss engagement ring event. You're getting the top designers flying in for the event. So they're going to have like double the inventory and up to 20% off thousands of rings. We're talking to Corey and A. Jaffe and Benchmark. These are big names your lady knows about and she's been wanting. So if you've been thinking that dream ring may be a little bit out of your price range, well, saving 20% this weekend, maybe it's not. It's only for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's the time to make it happen, guys. So you get married in 2026, get the wedding bands this weekend. Save yourself some cash. You're shopping to finally pop the question? Benari Jewelers in Exeter and Newtown Square is where you need to go. It's a great event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Don't miss the savings. Details at BenariJewelers.com.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Deadline day comes and goes. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles were quiet on the actual NFL trade deadline day, which was yesterday, but the NFL was not. Big trades went down, including the Jets moving Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys and Sauce Gardner to the Colts. Howie Roseman did meet with media yesterday and talked about the philosophy the Eagles had going into the deadline.
I think it first starts with an overall philosophy that we could upgrade every spot. With that mentality, looking for any edges. So if there's incremental difference in a player, we owe it to our team, to our fans, to our building, to our owner to do that.
And the Eagles found an edge with Jalen Phillips, no pun intended. And they also found some corners with Michael Carter and Jair Alexander joining the squad ahead of the deadline. Now the focus turns to a Monday night matchup with the Packers in Lambeau. Sixers blew a 24-point lead in Chicago last night, losing the Bulls in some rough fashion. Tyrese Maxey did have 39. Sixers did not score from the field in the final 6 minutes of the game. They've got a back-to-back matchup with the Cavs tonight in Cleveland. Tip-off's at 7 p.m. You can hear that game live here on the Fanatic. Flyers fought off of their own comeback. After giving up a 3-goal lead, taking down the Canadians in a shootout, they're off tonight. We'll talk to Jeff McClain in the Inquirer coming up next. This update is brought to you by Groundworks, your trained and certified experts for basement waterproofing and foundation repairs since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 90.
It is 8:26 on this Wednesday morning here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. And joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you get moving forward with what's next. You got to check out the new look of Inquirer Sports, where fans can read, watch, and listen to their favorite reporters and columnists. Go to inquirer.com/sports. Apparently, I won't be able to read it off my phone anymore because that just fell off the table, Johnny.
It just fell right down to the ground.
Our man Jeff McClain joins us to talk about the NFL trade deadline and things moving forward for the Eagles. Jeff, good morning. How are we doing today?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing great. So all the moves for the Eagles, defensive side of the football, I would imagine that's been the emphasis for Howie Roseman, considering what we saw the first 8 games of the Eagles. Any surprises to you leading up to the trade deadline?
I guess that he made so many trades. I mean, I guess Howie makes more trades and has made. No, I'm not guessing. He's made more trades than any GM since he's been in the role in the NFL. So this isn't uncharacteristic. But even for Howie, this is aggressive. And I don't think the 2 moves that they made at cornerback were excessive in terms of what they gave up. I think more than anything, they're kind of swings, and we'll see. Not big swings, but they're swings on guys that kind of have been underperforming or getting a little older, or haven't really factored much into the teams that they're coming from, and see if they can fit in somehow into the puzzle in the defensive secondary. Phillips is definitely more the marquee acquisition. The Eagles gave a 3rd-round pick for him. It's a need that they definitely had at the edge rusher position, and I would say that he certainly helps them. I don't know about the other 2. We'll see how that plays out. But he certainly will help them play right away. And will it be enough though is the question. And as I asked in my column today, why were they in this position in the first place?
And that's one of the things, Jeff, and your column, really sums up stuff that we've been talking about. Is does this trade deadline and all these flurries of move tell you that the offseason that Howie had really wasn't very good?
I wouldn't go that so far. I wouldn't go that far. And I think we have to see how the season plays out. You knew it was going to be a little bit of a difficult one for him in terms of coming off the Super Bowl and having got high-priced guys that were going to get paid, in free agency. Now, he could have been a little more proactive maybe with Milton Williams, and the same, I guess, applies to Josh Sweat and signing them ahead of time. But he can't pay everybody, and they do have some big contracts coming up. Certainly John Carter is one of them. But they have other homegrown talent that they're going to have to pay at some point. But yeah, he's had some questionable moves. He's had some good moves. It does seem like he's had, I think it's 9 trades since the start of training camp. It seems like there's been a lot of self-auto-correcting. All that being said, Howie deserves the benefit of the doubt. He's won 2 championships. The base, the core of the roster is as good as almost any in the NFL. But he had his challenges this off season, and I think to some extent we've seen it play out here in these first 8 games.
Jeff, you mentioned the other guys that were acquired, not Jalen Phillips, about whether or not they will even help out all that much. Based off of initial reporting and information that you've gathered, how much are Michael Carter II and Jair Alexander in the plans for the Eagles moving forward?
Well, they're on the roster. I don't think they're going to put Alexander out there to start right away, and I guess I assume the same for Michael Carter. They got to learn the scheme, and they got to get him in here and get their feet under them. But that outside cornerback spot has been the one opposite Quinyon Mitchell has been it's not been solidified by either Dory Jackson or Keely Ringo, maybe Jacorian Bennett. He's another guy that they've acquired. It could be any one of those 4 guys at some point. And, they keep kind of resisting what I think maybe the obvious answer is just to keep Cooper DeJean out there permanently. I get the value that he provides inside at the slot position. He does play outside in base, so you get a kind of a little bit of taste of both. But on pass downs, they've been susceptible at that outside spot. Now, Michael Carter potentially would allow that to happen. He has played slot. But is it that much of a decline going from DeJean to Carter? Is it that much of an upgrade going from, whoever, Keely Ringo or Dory Jackson to DeJean? I think that's something that Vic Fangio's going to have to take into account as he's looking at all his players and mixing and matching guys. How he did it was interesting, and how he did mention that Michael Carter can play safety. That has been a position that, when we talked about how he's all season moves, drafting Drew Makuba in the second round and having him pretty much start from right away. It's taken a while. He's a young player. He's got a lot to learn, and I thought he played pretty well this last week. The week before that, he did not play well, and he's had ups and downs, as you'd expect for a rookie. Maybe that's someone that they see there. They still have Sidney Brown at that spot, but they did release Marcus Epps, so Michael Carter does give him some flexibility there.
The flexibility you talk about is something that they really need. I'm interested in a little more flexibility on this offensive side of the ball. What are you hearing from the offensive players? And I know, obviously, you're not talking with them this week as you're just getting ready to get back into the lab with them. But as far as their transformation, is that the same type of thing as you were talking about there, where Howie's making a bunch of adjustments and everything? Do they feel that they're on the right track as we head into the second half?
Yeah, I mean, certainly based off what they done against the Giants in the second game, and got the running game going. It was a great way to go into the bye. I don't think anyone is saying that the Giants are a great team, but they do have talent up front on that defensive line, and they did lose to them just 17 days prior. So they needed to get that monkey off their back, and they needed to get Saquon Barkley going, and they were able to do so. They will change things up schematically. They all got the ball rolling in the right direction coming off the mini bye, which is more play action and throwing off, of having Jalen Hurts under center. I do think that helped them that week, but also in the following week, because now defenses have to account for that. It's just one more variable that they have to think about pre-snap. And it seems like Jalen Hurts is getting a little more comfortable doing it. My guess is that that's kind of what held them back to some regard, and also in how they use them in the run game. But, they still have a lot they got to kind of get rectified. The pass offense exploded against the Vikings, didn't really need it as much against the Giants, but they have some really tough tests coming up here, and I think that will kind of give us a better indication of what this offense is and what it could potentially be if they do make another run for the Super Bowl.
I'm glad you brought up those tough tests, right? You have the Green Bay Packers followed by the Detroit Lions. And I'm not saying that it is, but remember, there have been comparisons to 2023 at points this season. How important do you think these next two games will be, not just based off of wins for the 1 seed or the 2 seed in the NFC, but to maybe flush away all those potential concerns, because people have pointed out that the last 2 wins against the Vikings and Giants weren't that impressive. And then, of course, you have these 2 games, much like the San Francisco 49ers game in 23, that kind of sent that downward spiral.
Yeah, I like to kind of stay away from the 2023 comparisons, although, we all recall the gauntlet stretch that really kind of started to start the downslope and downward spiral of that team. But it was there beforehand. Yeah, I think this team is better equipped, certainly in terms of what they have, the coordinator positions, but also what they have in terms of personnel. But the Packers and Lions are 2 of the better teams in the conference, and they'll be facing the next 2 weeks. I guess we'll start with the Packers. I mean, it's not like they've been dominant. They just lost this past week to the Panthers, and I think the Panthers are a team a little bit on the upswing. But that just shows where the Eagles are and where the parity is in this league at this point. And it's going to be tough going into Green Bay. It always is. I don't, we'll see how it plays out, but I don't think this stretch, and it's not even close to that gauntlet stretch. They have the Cowboys after the Lions, and then they have the Bears, who have a winning record.
Chargers.
Chargers missing both their tackles. So, they can certainly get through the stretch, win them all, lose a couple, but they'll be fine. They'll be in the mix, and where they stand in the NFC East tells you that they're probably going to end up winning it. A lot of games still to play, so I don't want to get that far ahead of myself here. But, I think they're still filling it out. I think those of us on the outside or those of us that cover it, we're still trying to figure it out as well.
Jeff, listen, man, we appreciate
Thank
the
you, buddy.
time as always. Now the trade deadline is over. Relax for about like 2 more days, and then you got Green Bay. We appreciate
he's
the time
working
as
today.
always, and we'll talk to you next
Thanks,
week.
Jeff.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
There he is, Jeff McClain.
Jeff is getting stung
on the
by
Comcast
bees
Bizarre.
during
I
that.
knew he was about to finish his answer, so I was just kind of letting it go.
He was getting stung by bees, though. I hope he's all right. He's not allergic. That was crazy.
Yeah, we got donuts with Schefter, and we got a beehive with McClain.
Donut day.
All right, coming up next, I'm going to put John's brain into a pretzel. At least I think. Someone who he respects
Okay.
doing something that he hates.
All right, I like this.
And to me, the reasoning is very confusing. So I'm excited to see where John Kincade
A pretzel,
goes
I
this
like
next
this.
segment. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Sean Marks and
Kincade's brain in a pretzel. Our 2 topics that we've had going for you guys this morning. The Eagles one, do you truly realize how good we have it with this organization, right? I know the Eagles have been a roller coaster ride this year with all the drama and all the talking points, but ultimately they're the defending Super Bowl champions. They're 6-2 to start the season. They're about to take on the Green Bay Packers Monday night. And Howie Roseman sees issues. Some of it self-created, but at least he goes after players that he thinks will help the team. And Jalen Phillips is one of those guys. And I understand, look, John, some of it is they have to see what they have, right? So the edge, Nolan Smith, first-round pick, and Jalen Hunt, third-round pick. And they were probably saying, all right, look.
They're trying to make themselves be right.
And it's not just that. It's we have to allocate money elsewhere. So
right.
It's not like they could have acquired Myles Garrett this offseason.
No, but that's why you draft. That's why you draft guys.
Right. So
to give them a shot.
We have a first-round pick and a third-round pick as our edge rushers next to a first-round pick and a first-round pick in Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. So we have to hope that these guys uplift their game. Now, I was suspect of that.
Weren't we completely
correct?
We were
yes.
We were completely suspect of it.
Yes.
And our eyes for football are a lot less than the guys who are making those decisions.
And so
why did they make those decisions?
Well, but 8 weeks into the season, he trades a third-round pick for a guy that he'll have for at least half a season.
I got you, but you're plugging holes. You're a championship club, and you're plugging holes. Trust your eyes. It's okay to sometimes go, I got this one wrong.
Sure.
Let's fix it.
Well, and that's what
nobody thought Keely Ringo was going to work.
No, there were
except them.
There were people.
No, but I mean, nobody in football circles was like, yeah, Keely Ringo.
Keely Ringo's the guy.
That's the one.
But there are championship teams out there not plugging holes.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Like, at least the Eagles made a deal that we all believe can help
Jeff's
this team.
piece in the Inquirer today is a really good piece on it. It's like it sort of sums up what I was saying earlier on in the show. You're correcting a bunch of mistakes.
Well, other than Jalen Phillips. Like, everyone's on the same page.
Fine.
We're happy with that move.
Yeah,
it's the questions of the other guy.
But that is still but they also had to go get Jalen Phillips because they overestimated other guys.
I also don't think they thought Zadarius Smith was going to retire.
No.
And remember,
but he wasn't a guy that they. He was a guy they stumbled into also.
McLean and DeCecco both said on the show that they were talking to him for a while prior to because they signed him, week 2?
Sure. Well, they were talking to Brandon Graham, too, and he wasn't ready to. Now we find out Brandon Graham wasn't ready to come. They were talking to Brandon Graham when they were talking to Zadarius Smith.
That too.
And that Zadarius Smith ends up being the guy who was ready.
Yeah.
If BG had been ready, he would have been that guy.
All right, what do we got on the text line? We also have the Sixers. Are you willing to be patient, or do you believe you already know what will hamper this team? Because the Sixers lost yesterday, and a lot of people are pointing out the Joel Embiid. I do want to point this out real quick. Our Real Mama Eagle chimed in. Even though she's Real Mama Eagle, she also is a fan of all Philadelphia sports teams.
And a big Embiid. She's of your camp of Embiid.
Yes, she is. She sent the graphic of the Sixers were up 19 points when Embiid exited the game with 5:22 left in the third. And then when he came back with 5:39 left in the fourth, that 19-point lead shrunk to 7.
Okay, now at that point, though, when he came back in the game, let's talk about it from there. Did you like what you saw? Do you like the style of play? Do you think the ball was moving right? Do you think there was good shots?
I did not like I did not like the isolation every single possession.
I'm saying I get Mama Eagle's point. Yeah. But at that point, let's just talk about, though, the reality is that it wasn't good. It wasn't good what we saw.
And you're hoping that 7-point lead goes back up to like 12, and it didn't because he was 0-5 from the field. And
he was taking
that's part of the reason why
ill-advised shots, too. A few of them. Ill-advised. They weren't good quality shots.
No, he broke down Vucevic and had the shot.
And you can't beat that one. No, you're not going to beat that one.
They weren't going in. All right, what else? What do you got on the text line?
Sean checks in and says, watching what other organizations have done over the years compared to the Eagles makes me extremely happy. I'm a Birds fan. When Howie says he's going to improve this team, he's done it, and he's improved his draft picks as well.
Well,
the draft picks.
He hasn't improved the draft picks.
No. I think he's saying he's improved at drafting.
His drafting is fantastic.
That changed everything.
It's changed his whole narrative on Howie Roseman changed.
When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, it wasn't based off of draft picks. The first one, the first Super Bowl in 2017-18. That was Chip Kelly draft picks, Andy Reid draft picks, and a bunch of free agents and trades. And that's an art within itself, right? Keeping guys under contract and acquiring players via trade and free agency. That is an art within itself. We've seen a lot of bad free agent signings around the NFL, bad trades around the NFL, and Eagles have fell victim to those things. The fact that they have found some formula, and that formula is listening to your scouts, which that was an issue.
You mean going to the best?
Going to the
Let's just
SEC.
say, go to the best conference in college football.
Right.
And go to the areas and go to the best programs and draft guys out of the best programs.
Yeah, but Quinyon Mitchell wasn't a best program. Cooper DeJean wasn't an SEC player.
No, I got you. There are some that absolutely. But the majority of your shopping should be done at the good place.
Absolutely should be. Yeah. Even though I'm a bowl and basket guy. What else?
Which I still don't understand.
Steve checks in, says it's the same old tired story with Embiid. Can't make a clutch shot in the fourth quarter. He's got issues with closing out games in his career.
No, it's not true. It is right now. It is right now. All right. I'm going to put your brain to pretzel here, John.
I want to hear this.
Or at least I'm just more excited to see
I'm
what
anxious
your
to see
response is.
who the person is. That's why I'm fascinated.
Tom Brady. And I know you respect his acumen.
Oh, I respect his acumen, yeah, very much. But what's the...
I also know that you hate power rankings.
Well, I hate power rankings.
So Tom Brady did his power ranking.
Okay. Which he's paid kindly to do. So.
He is the Eagles at number 1.
All right.
His reasoning, the Eagles have made their way back to the top. They're defending champs, and they're playing great football. I think it's fair to give them the benefit of the doubt. They were active ahead of the trade deadline, and their bye week came at the perfect time. They've got a few tough games ahead of the against the NFC North ahead. Halfway through the year, we're right back where we started. Somebody's going to have to knock Philly off its perch if they want to be in their top spot.
Okay, he's got they got the best record in football, so.
You know where they ranked last week?
In Tom Brady's?
Yeah. 8th.
Yeah. They climbed up 7 spots.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
How can you climb up 7 spots in a bye week?
Can you tell me, though? Were Detroit and Green Bay ahead of them going into last week? In last week's power ranking.
So Buffalo dropped a spot, so they were ahead of the Eagles. The Bucks climbed up 1 spot, so they were ahead of the Eagles. The Rams climbed up a spot. They were ahead of the Eagles. The Seahawks were not. The Patriots were not. The Broncos and Niners were not.
So some of the teams, though.
He knocked out the Packers and Lions.
Well, they should because they had a terrible week.
Right.
So he's updating his power rankings and going, those guys had a bad week. I'm going to give them I'm going to knock them down.
Can you climb up 7? It's like somebody losing their job because of injury. Can you climb up 7 spots when you didn't play?
Yeah, because they were all clumped together.
Yeah,
the teams almost had the same record.
That's true.
You heard our intro, right? It was a perfect weekend for the Eagles. They did nothing for it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. They did nothing to earn it.
So you're pro Tom Brady's rankings.
No, I'm not pro Tom Brady cloning his dead dog.
Oh, dude, that's later on the show.
I know.
I have that.
I'm not pro. Oh, Connor, do not read it. Do not read it. So
we
that
will
way you
tell
don't.
you about it at 9:40.
Yeah.
We are less than an hour away.
I'm not with Tom on that one.
Oh, dude, this is a big story. It's Tom Brady. It's like LeBron. If LeBron farts, we have to talk about
See,
it.
they do this on General Hospital and people roll their eyes. It's real. This happens.
Coming up next, can Charles Barkley be the voice of Eagles fans on national television?
What?
It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I don't know what's going on anymore, but I know it was trade deadline day in the NFL yesterday. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles were quiet on the actual deadline day, even though they added 2 corners and an edge rusher, Michael Carter II, Jair Phillips, and Jair Alexander, and Jalen Phillips, respectively. But the NFL wasn't quiet. Quinnen Williams got traded from the Jets to the Cowboys, Sauce Gardner from the Jets to the Colts, and Howie Roseman, he met with media at least to talk a little bit about what they did ahead of the deadline.
I feel like when there's opportunities to be aggressive for the right players, we're not going to sit on our hands. I don't think that you have great success without taking great risks at times. They got to make sense, and so we can't be afraid to fail.
So the Eagles not afraid of taking risks, traded some draft picks, added 3 players. Now the focus turns to a Monday night matchup with the Packers in Lambeau. Sixers blew a 24-point lead in Chicago last night, losing to the Bulls. Tyrese Maxey had 39, but the Sixers did not score from the field for the final 6 minutes of the game. They got a back-to-back with Cleveland tonight. They're in Cleveland against the Cavs, a 7 p.m. tip-off. You can hear that game live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers fought off a comeback of their own. After giving up a 3-goal lead, they took down the Canadiens in a shootout last night. They're off tonight. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Score huge deals and better sleep at Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale. Their sleep experts will find the perfect bed for your unique needs. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Fanatic. WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia.
It's almost 9.
I got 5 more minutes till I have to do that. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Wednesday morning. Still to come, we have our 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter from earlier this morning. You'll hear that around 9:25. We got to get into some of the other trades made around the NFL. But before we do any of that, yesterday was a really, really fun day. We talked about it a couple of times today. All-Star Day. It was great.
A lot of fun.
And it continued after our show with Middays with Marks, as well as Unfiltered. A lot of great guests from, obviously, here at the station, but guests from the outside as well. I know there was a Union player on Unfiltered. The Philly sports guy was on Unfiltered as well. And Charles Barkley joined Middays with Marks. But it wasn't just Johnny Marks. He joined John Kincade. Who else was in the room at the time? Jason and Harry.
I mean, it was a full house.
Yeah, it was a full house of people.
The only thing
with
missing was Uncle Jesse. I mean, it was and the 2 annoying little girls.
So Charles Barkley was asked about, I don't even know what you guys asked him about. It was like a million things. That's the beauty of having Chuck on.
Charles
you can talk
just
about everything.
Charles just takes over.
Yeah, and he's the best.
Literally.
And now a member of ESPN, Charles Barkley. And I wonder if Charles Barkley could be sort of our best friend when it comes to some of the negative noise about Jalen Hurts at times. This was Charles Barkley yesterday calling out members of the national media.
Well, the man's been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years, correct? He's been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. Probably would be a 2-time MVP if it wasn't for Pat Mahomes in that one game. That was a hell of a game. The Eagles, I think I saw some reason they had won like 20 out of 22 games. Man, you can't pay these fools on TV no attention. We've gotten to the point now where people are just trying to get clicks, or they're trying to, they want people to call into their radio shows and TV shows, and if you don't like Jalen Hurts, I mean, the 2 been to 2 Super Bowls, won.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. There will be people that will continuously try to tear down what Jalen Hurts does. Now,
because it gets attention.
Yeah. Now, Jalen Hurts, it is...
And we're part of that problem, by the way. Every one of us in this city that's an Eagles fan that reacts to the nonsense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
it's what I asked you earlier.
The nonsense from like a Chris Sims or something like that.
Sure.
It is crazy, though. Like yesterday, during my first segment with Middays with Marks, before you and I and Connor and Andrew went out to lunch, John asked, just the typical question of Jalen Hurts and the ranking and all that kind of stuff. Remember that guy? I forget his name. I brought it up yesterday. He covers the NFL, and his child asked him, "Is Jalen Hurts good?"
And he said it was a complex answer.
He said it took him 30 minutes to answer the question because he is a complex quarterback to try to evaluate.
If it takes you that long to answer that question, you don't.
Well, you're not watching.
You haven't watched him.
You're not watching.
That's a bad answer.
He wins.
Yes.
And he does the things in order to win. He's not throwing for 350 yards unless he's asked to do it that game. And sometimes the Eagles in their game plans do ask him to do it that way.
And they don't want to play that kind of ball.
And there are people that see statistics and go, oh, must have been a bad game. There are a lot of box score watchers.
There are plenty.
As we know, or people that have overs on bets or fantasy football
and that is correct.
And all that kind of stuff, and that all plays a factor. All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities.
Time now for the Kincade and Salciunas re-rack.
It was absolutely a blast yesterday. Great to see a lot of our friends, Johnny, and great to see a lot of people vibing and having a good time listening to the shows yesterday, not just with us, but also with Middays with Marks and Unfiltered. Again, shout out to Mike Vito for all that work that he put together. It was a really fun day yesterday, and we hope that a lot of you who joined us yesterday, maybe for the first time in a while, would like to stick around for a little bit. So
it was a great day yesterday. I was absolutely exhausted last night, though.
Bro,
completely exhausted.
I will tell you right now, fell asleep on the couch after the Sixers finished the first quarter, 45-27. My wife normally will wake me up and say, "Come up to bed." She knew how tired I was. She kind of just let me go. I woke up in the third quarter and I was like, "All right, let me finish this out." I wish you'd gone to bed. I wish she woke me up and brought me to bed.
Well, no. it got a little slow last night.
Yeah,
we'll get into that.
We will get into it.
A little slow and plotting last night.
But it was
a little slow and plotting last night.
Narrative.
It was there.
We'll get into it. But no, it was a really fun day yesterday.
Great day.
But back to reality. And yesterday was the NFL trade deadline. Now, as expected, no other moves were made for the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday, right? They made their move the day prior, trading the third-round pick for Jalen Phillips. And, the rest is history. You now know the roster moving forward. We'll see how it shakes out because we don't know about Adoree Jackson. We were talking to Andrew DeCecco yesterday during Fanatic All-Star Day, and I know he mentioned it on a couple of shows yesterday, that maybe the next couple of roster moves are subtractions because you're over the certain number that you can be at. And you guys on IR, you got guys coming back like Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith, and so they're going to have to potentially cut some players. You don't know, like A.J. Dillon. What is his role now moving forward, right? So there's going to be bodies that are probably going to be released by the Philadelphia
They already
Eagles.
did one with Patrick Robinson.
Right, exactly.
Now, is that just to get him onto the practice squad, though?
Probably. You're going to hope that he gets down.
Yeah, because they released the player from the practice squad in addition to that move.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, but he's not on it yet, right? Or am I wrong?
Not yet. He's got to clear waivers.
He has to clear waivers. I got to wonder. He may be somebody that the amount of times that Howie poaches, I got to wonder if someone would poach him just to say,
screw you, Howie.
Or maybe intelligence.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But, we know that the deals are done. Trade deadline happened yesterday. It was a crazy day in the NFL, which we'll get to later on. But Jalen Phillips, the player that we mentioned, Howie Roseman had the first chance to speak post-trade deadline yesterday afternoon, and this was Howie on Phillips.
All these guys, the process starts with college. Spent a lot of time with him coming out of college, knowing the person. It's really easy to scout the player. He's got freak ability. He can rush. He can set the edge. He can play in space. He's got a nonstop motor. I think one of the most fun things to do is put on his tape and watch his effort. And when you have the athleticism and the physical ability he has with the effort he has, and then just going and seeing that he was Walter Payton Man of the Year in Miami, the things that he does in the community, comes from an unbelievable family. And then obviously Vic was with him. A lot of times when you're talking to your coaches and you have a vision of how the player is going to fit, you have to have those discussions. But that discussion was really easy. Coach Fangio, where we are as a team, what we believe in is important to winning a world championship and to being a great team. It really wasn't a hard trade to make.
So, Johnny, I know we've had debates, not like you and I debating, but a lot of people that have been listening to the show, we've debated about or discussed Howie Roseman's offseason, right, and how there were some questionable decisions, not bringing back some players that were on the cheap, moving on from some players where you go, I thought he was a part of the future, like an Isaiah Rodgers.
Right.
There were players on the D-line that you weren't going to bring back because of the paydays that Milton Williams and Josh Sweat got, but you were wondering, all right, how are you going to replace those players? And you really didn't, right? You drafted Ty Robinson in the 4th round, and you expected Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt to take those leaps forward or the next step forward, and you haven't really seen much of that. 1, because of Nolan Smith's injury. 2, maybe Jalix Hunt is better when Nolan Smith is on the other side. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll find out as this plays out. But I do want to start here before we start breaking down maybe some poor decisions from this past offseason. Do we realize, and I mean truly realize, how good we have it with this organization? And I mean as a whole. We just watched what went down in Dallas with the Cowboys, going back to before the season started, trading away Micah Parsons and the circus that was, to literally the circus leading up to the trade deadline. The day before, Jerry Jones talking about,
I have a trade.
I have a trade.
By the way, he did. He wasn't lying.
Sure,
He had a
but
trade.
then after the game, he's saying, I didn't say that. We don't have a trade. It's like, well, you did say it. And to me, that's a circus where at some point, like, I can only imagine what a Cowboys fan, not that we care, goes through on a daily basis hearing Jerry Jones talk. We have the only drama that we have right now is A.J. Brown and cryptic tweets, right? Like, that's the only real drama that we have.
It is. It's a matter of whether your team is doing well or not. We had drama when the team wasn't doing well. Look, we're in a great period of time. Mm-hmm. It's a great time to be dropped in the middle of your Eagles fandom. And but it's just it is in the greatness. Then there's a level of sustaining and a level of expectation that then also comes into play that you didn't have before.
Right.
You didn't have the level of, okay, you're not supposed to slip after you win the Super Bowl terribly. You're not supposed to have, so it's like you have all these expectations of, well, let's sustain something. And that's the one thing the Eagles have not done.
Correct.
They've done the bring you a championship now twice, get to a championship. But then it seems like there's always the inevitable stumble afterwards, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So it's like you realize how good it is, but then because you've tasted the greatness, you aspire for something better.
Right. And look,
and maybe that's unfair, by the way.
No, I don't think
not
I don't think it's unfair because we've
but
seen
high
it.
expectations.
Look, we've seen it, and this roster, it's not like this roster. Even though there were some questionable moves during the offseason, now we talked about them, right? Like I was furious when they traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, despite him being on like 18 teams since then. I was very concerned about Dallas Goedert potentially exiting the Philadelphia Eagles.
You were
Fortunately,
borderline devastated.
Fortunately, he came back. But ultimately, the roster was still spectacular. And they had to add players, and they did that this past week by acquiring Jalen Phillips at a position of need, whereas some teams will just sit on their hands and say, no, we're good. Howie Roseman and his aggressive nature, and this is, to me, this isn't just like a name brand player. This is a guy that knows Vic Fangio's system.
He does.
You heard it in the clip there. The history of Vic Fangio played a factor into the decision to make the trade, and clearly they valued him enough by giving up a third-round pick. But it was also the smart third-round decision and not the one from the New York Jets that's going to be one of the top picks in the third round.
They're also, though, I mean, I would say to you is that and if you like watching like an NFL Live, which I love to do, and some of these other shows, there's also the discussion of Phillips, two major injuries in a short period of time. How good of of guy is he? It's worth taking a flyer on.
Sure.
And it's worth seeing what the guy's got. But we would be saying somebody else would be going, man, he suffered two major injuries. What's he going to have? He's on a prove-it type of opportunity
he
here.
Absolutely is.
And to me, a prove-it opportunity with Vic Fangio is one that I'm willing to buy into.
So what I want to do to start the show, let's start the positive, right? We had a nice fun day yesterday here on the Fanatic. Let's keep the good vibes going. Do we truly realize how good we have it with the Philadelphia Eagles organization? You can text in, you can call in at 610-632-0975. They won the Super Bowl last year. They're 6-2, and they didn't.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
where the conversation started, and it's just too far back to keep scrolling on our YouTube chat. Somehow, Ray Dunn is a furry.
That tracks.
Ray Dunn a furry?
Not there's anything wrong with it. You do you, man. That's how I live my life. Do whatever the hell makes you happy.
I don't think it's about doing you.
Well, I don't fall under that category. All right, that's not something.
No, I'm talking about it's,
that's not something that I participate in. But apparently, Ray Dunn, according to our YouTube chat, is a furry.
Have you ever been around the Dragon Cons? That's what they called it in Atlanta.
You're talking about like the Comic-Con draws where they dress up?
I have never attended one. No.
Well, there would be college football weekend, the kickoff weekend when they would have the 2 games in Atlanta.
Sure.
It was always the same weekend that they would do Dragon Con.
Interesting.
So at our hotel downtown, we'd literally have a hotel downtown because we'd have activities going on all the time.
You'd have bulldogs and dragons.
You would have people being like, I'd get on the elevator. Here's Batman and Robin on the elevator. Here's Superman with Wonder Woman. And the people walking around. And then there'd be the happy hour where everybody's in costume as like superheroes walking around doing like a happy hour.
Yeah, it was just Halloween.
It was the craziest thing I ever saw. And then they have a parade.
Yeah, but I will say Dragon Con is a lot different than the lifestyle of a furry. Much different.
Oh, I think some of the same stuff was going on.
Somebody asking on the YouTube chat what that is. All I will say is I've spent too much time already talking about it. All you have to do is do a quick Google research.
Do you like dragons?
If Ray is, yeah, but they just call it Dragon Con. There were no dragons. I was looking for the dragons.
Who would be, again, not that there's anything wrong with it, who would be the furry at the stage?
We're moving on.
Really?
I'm wondering.
We're moving on.
And don't say Dylan.
I can see Rodman.
Don't say Dylan.
I can see Rodman in the back. You know, he's hanging out back there. Had a little,
I don't know.
Puts the ears on top.
I don't know.
He just went away with his girlfriend recently. I don't know what they did.
We have All-Star Day for one day, and all of a sudden you think we could start outing furries here on the air.
And all hell breaks loose.
Not outing anybody.
Just saying it.
I don't know.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Again. All right, so yesterday, NFL trade deadline. Obviously much busier for the Eagles leading up to the trade deadline because that's kind of how Howie operates. And I'm
sure.
I'm fine with it. He wants to get ahead of the curve. It's great. The NFL had some big moves yesterday. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys were the talk of the town because that's what Jerry Jones wants. Quinnen Williams is a very good football player. And as Adam Schefter told us during his hit with us today, and you'll hear the best 5 minutes of Schefter coming up around 9:25, Williams and the price, one GM said totally worth it. The price was a 2026 second rounder and a 2027 first rounder. But as Schefter also said, why wouldn't you have done this deal if you were thinking about it 2 weeks ago?
Because the Jets season wasn't completely dead. It wasn't. Look, because you have a new coach who's a defensive guy.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Take away his 2 best defensive players and say, "Hey, coach, show us what you can do."
You did it 2 weeks later.
No, well, they did it 2 weeks later because they're like, "Okay, this isn't working." It means, and I told you before, I think Aaron Glenn's done.
You think he's a one and done coach?
Yes.
Nope.
I don't believe that.
I think he's
Their
done.
owner came out and said, "How can you win with a quarterback like that?"
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, guess what?
They're done with Justin Fields.
Their defense has been horrible.
In
critical situations.
And they got a ton of picks in return. A ton of picks. They also got the 2 first-round picks, 1 in 26 and 1 in 27 from the Colts. They traded away Sauce Gardner. So, I guess the Jets, I saw a quote from the GM of the Jets saying this is not a teardown. Well, when you trade away your 2 best players on defense, to me, that's a teardown.
Arguably your 2 best players.
Also, with the Aaron Glenn thing, there are no Madden ratings for coaches, so it's going to be really hard for Woody Johnson to evaluate.
That's right, because that's how they evaluate their
his
players.
son tells them by ratings, I think.
Shout out Brick.
The big move, though, of note, non-Eagles related move, is the Seattle Seahawks acquiring Rashid Shaheed, because what they have been able to accomplish in Seattle this year was Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith in Jigba. And I know that they got Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet in the backfield. Like they have other weapons for sure. But it was really a one-man show at wide receiver in Jackson Smith in Jigba. And now that you acquire...
And they still can't stop him.
Right, nobody can. Exactly. That's what's made him so good this year. The fact that it's been so much attention still thrown his way, and yet he's been one of the better receivers in the NFL. Now you have that deep threat in Shaheed to go on the other side of the field within Jigba, and that could really open up the door for Seattle to have even more of a prolific offense. it comes down to who is Sam Darnold come playoff time, which we won't know until the playoffs, right? Like,
right. And again, as I read yesterday, there were many, many very top-notch quarterbacks who had worse first playoff games than Sam Darnold.
Sure.
It's a bad talking point. This is not something where
it's not a bad talking point. It's a real talking point that it happened.
No, it's a real talking point that it happened. But if you use it in context and you look in comparison context, there is a litany of great great Hall of Famers
Here's
that
my
had
context.
worse.
But he's not a
that
Hall
had
of
worse.
Famer.
He stinks. There's your context.
It's unbelievable.
You're
Good eyes.
gonna stand on that. I appreciate it, Connor.
He stinks.
He might go out there in the first round of the playoffs and poop himself again, and then you go, all right.
Or his defense might.
Double stinky.
Or his defense might, like his defense did last year.
Well, he wasn't
His
good. He
defense
wasn't good in that.
Yes.
He wasn't good in that playoff game either. But that was a good move for Seattle, which is one of the teams where you take a step back and, you forget about the Eagles for a second. You go, all right, Seattle's toward the top of the NFC. It's crazy that, and it's probably disrespectful, that I don't look at the Seattle Seahawks and go, oh, my God, Super Bowl threat. I don't look at them that way.
Okay, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Have you watched them this year? I mean,
no, not four quarters, 15 minutes.
I'm not talking
apiece,
about. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about. Have you really given them eyeballs like when it's on a? There
was the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that I could not stop watching. Remember that was the game where Darnold and Mayfield were going back and forth, and I can't crush the Seattle Seahawks defense for that because that's when Baker Mayfield was playing,
and it was
at the time
it was a wild game.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I mean, if I've watched Seattle probably I've probably watched 6-7 quarters of them, maybe, and bouncing around with the Sunday ticket. I'm impressed as hell.
I'm not saying I'm not impressed.
I am really impressed because they are a good.
But if you were to ask me right now, they're
a good football team on both sides of the ball.
Who do I think has a better chance of making the Super Bowl than the Seattle Seahawks? I would give you the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
I would give you the Los Angeles Rams, and
Lions,
and the Detroit Lions. Yeah, those are the three.
Seattle's looked a lot better than the Lions.
I know they have, but it's the pedigree, which is an important thing. That is important.
I don't think they have pedigree though.
Tampa went into
Lions
Seattle.
Lions don't have pedigree. If we're judging it by playoff success, Lions don't have pedigree. We're judging it by regular season how they look. We're not judging it by pedigree because the Lions don't have.
Well,
they got more than Sam Darnold.
Conference
the
championship
playoffs. Where you're going, hey, this is a good. They choked like dogs.
The Lions offense scares me more than the Seahawks offense, and I don't rate Jared Goff as like this top 5 quarterback, right? But there's just more things to it. Now, again, Shaheed, that acquisition is big for him, and that's why I'm trying to pay some respect to the Seattle Seahawks. Like, that was a very good trade for them, and all they gave up was a 4th and a 5th round pick. Like, it's not like they gave up a first rounder for him. So it was a good move for the Seattle Seahawks, but I just don't look at them as like one of the top 3 teams. I don't know. We'll see about Tampa. It's the injury thing for me. Like Detroit, at one point, I thought they would not be able to overcome the injuries last year, right? Despite them,
and we did not. Yeah,
I don't know how Tampa keeps on doing it. I'm saying it about San Francisco too. Like the 49ers will win games because their schedule stinks, but I don't know how much they can overcome injury after injury after injury.
They're good on both Seattle and Tampa, 2 teams. Really solid on both sides of the ball, and that balance scares me. And the Rams, they're very good too. That's why the Eagles' offense has to pick it up.
Oh, they absolutely have to
pick it up.
All right, coming up next, 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter. We'll check our text line. Don't forget 940. I can't believe Connor didn't say it. Must live under a rock. What Tom Brady did. Oof. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Slow deadline for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Eagles were quiet on actual trade deadline day yesterday, not making any additional moves. They had already made 3 trades, so it wasn't a quiet period just yesterday. The NFL wasn't quiet, though, with some big trades going down, including the Jets moving Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys and Sauce Gardner going to the Colts. Howie Roseman, he was busy meeting with media yesterday to talk about the philosophy of the trade deadline for the Eagles.
I think it first starts with an overall philosophy that we could upgrade every spot. With that mentality, looking for any edges. So if there's incremental difference in a player, we owe it to our team, to our fans, to our building, to our owner to do that.
And because of that philosophy, they did bring in Michael Carter II, Jair Alexander, and Jalen Phillips. And now the focus turns to a Monday night matchup with the Packers in Lambeau. Sixers blew a 24-point lead in Chicago last night, losing to the Bulls. Tyrese Maxey, 39 points in the loss, but the Sixers did not score from the field for the final 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. They got a back-to-back with the Cavs tonight in Cleveland, 7 p.m. tip-off here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Flyers fought off a comeback of their own after giving up a 3-goal lead, taking down the Canadians ultimately in a shootout. They are off tonight. So we got a little bit of basketball action to focus on. Hopefully a better night this time around. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Score huge deals and better sleep at Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale. Their sleep experts will find the perfect bed for your unique needs. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy. I'm Connor Thomas for the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
97.5, The Fanatic. All right, Connor, hit us with a couple of text messages, not about Sean Rodman, but about any of our topics this morning. And then we have our 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter that we're about to play for.
John in Huntington Valley checks in, and he says, I was one of the people excited by the Jair Alexander move. Maybe some people think he will come in and make a difference on the field right away. I'm hoping he can more be a veteran Pro Bowl presence in the locker room at the cornerback position and light a spark at the cornerback 2 position.
Yeah, look, I just, my answer is non-existent. Like, I don't know. Like, he might not dress. We do not know. I love having hopeful opinions like that. Like, I hope this, I hope that. But that's all you can base any of it on right now is hope. Like Jalen Phillips, you can confidently say he is going to make an impact with the Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Yes.
At some point, Jalen Phillips will probably sack a quarterback, or at some point he'll get a tackle for a loss. Jair Alexander, I don't know if I can even say at some point he will play. We have no idea. We don't know if he's going to dress.
Well, no, I don't think he. The what I've heard, the analysis of that deal just makes me roll my eyes because he's not even able to be around. Not even able to sniff the field. And people are like, "Oh yeah, quarterback 2, it's solved." And I'm
it's not. Yeah,
because they think the name.
Solved.
They hear name brands.
Yeah, look. There's Keely Ringo. There's Jacorian Bennett. Jeff McClain mentions once again that he would kick Cooper DeJean out to the outside. Like, there are options, some of them in-house before you even get to Jair Alexander, who is a healthy scratch every single week or most of the weeks with the Baltimore Ravens. I am intrigued, but I'm not about to sit here and tell you, yeah, problem solved. What else we got?
All right, so we have a bunch of people checking in on the Sixers and that rough loss last night. Andrew from the Poconos says, Sixers look so much more unified on the court without Embiid. Time to move on. Offense is stagnant with him on the floor. A lot of standing, lazy on defense. We look much better when we get out and run on the break.
All right. And people are entitled to their opinion.
Now, but you don't agree with that opinion?
I will once again ask
what's
opinion. The difference about quarter 1 and quarter 4?
Quarter 4 is when games are won in the NBA. A lot of sleepwalking goes on in the NBA for 3 quarters, and then fourth quarter, all of a sudden, everybody starts D'ing up and doing great things. Come on now.
Yeah, but we're acting like, first off, in the third quarter when he was off the court, and the first 7 minutes of the fourth quarter when he was off the court.
Just do what it is I think the quality of play when you're asking Joel Embiid to be like a point guard,
sure,
is absolutely. I've seen it. Don't want it. It doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. Much more than we know about what Sam Darnold is going to do in the postseason. We know it doesn't work in the postseason. So why are we doing it now? Let's do things that maybe can make it differently later.
Let me ask you this. Who is a plus half-court offense player on the Sixers right now outside of Tyrese Maxey?
I wish I knew. Yeah. But that's the job of the head coach to figure out that we know the style doesn't work.
But that's why I want to wait for it. Like, you don't even have, like, Jared McCain came back for a couple minutes yesterday.
Right, and he's got to come around.
Yeah, and Paul George is going to come back. Not that anybody's excited about that, but Paul George is going to come back. Like, you need to see how this plays out before you start talking about getting rid of him.
I'm not talking about, the thing is, I don't think anyone's even talking about get rid of him.
Well, I'm talking
about is the style. I don't think that's the overwhelming opinion. The overwhelming opinion, I believe, is absolutely, we've seen this, it doesn't work. Don't do it.
Yeah, but and Nick Nurse straight up said on the show that if they catch a rebound, he wants them to push it. And they do. It's when the Bulls score, you have to, or any team scores, you can't just push it. You're going to have to take it down the court. Now, the question is, when you are on the half-court style of play, should it run through Joel Embiid?
And the answer would be,
you're not going to
put gut instinct.
Yes, because you're not going to put him on the block. That's just not what he's done for 12 years in his NBA
career. But why couldn't he do that some of the time?
I could do it some of the time.
Well, then why don't we see it some of the time? We don't see it. He doesn't do it. They don't do it in that half court, especially in critical times, often enough.
They haven't done it in 7 games.
And he's also one of the best mid-range shooters in the league up until last night, obviously. I'm not a big plus-minus guy.
But now we have shooters. We've surrounded them by shooters, right? Isn't that the plan? We've surrounded him with guys that are the shooters so he doesn't have to do that as much. So we can see other
VJ's
people.
Shooting a lot better than anybody expected.
Oh, no question.
You know, he's over.
I'm fascinated.
Look, by the way, in the second half yesterday, so just real quick, I'm not a big plus-minus guy. I'm really not. But in the second half, Joel Embiid was a -9. All right? Oubre -18, VJ -14, Maxey -18, Grimes -21, Bona -12, even worse than Joel Embiid, and he played 1 less minute than Joel Embiid. So it wasn't just the Embiid thing. ultimately, you want to talk about shooting and shooters, they were 2 of 13 from 3 in the second half. Like, that's not going to cut it. Grimes going 0 of 3.
The legs didn't look right.
Yeah, because they've been playing 40 minutes.
And that's part of it that comes along. The legs look tired. Tired legs.
And, good thing you have another game tonight.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
And it's an easy one. Cleveland.
It's Cleveland.
That's great.
Yeah, I would probably take the Cavs tonight. All right, earlier today, as he does every single Wednesday, our man Adam Schefter joined us. Here's the best 5 minutes. Shefty, good morning. Happy day after the NFL trade deadline.
Good morning. It honestly feels like I just finished my college finals yesterday, and you have a couple of weeks before you start classes again. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I can only imagine the phone was probably going off the hook yesterday. Slower day for the Eagles, at least what's been reported. We know that Jalen Phillips was acquired the day prior, so let's start there. Eagles giving up a third-round pick to the Miami Dolphins for Jalen Phillips. I know injury concern has been there for Phillips, but it's a return of Vic Fangio. Was this sort of a deal all along for the Eagles the weeks leading up to the trade deadline?
Yeah, they were working on him for weeks, and it was somebody that interested them for weeks, and it was somebody that they felt could really provide some instant pass rush. And obviously it's a rental, and it's a third-round pick for a rental, but they really didn't care. They felt like this guy is good enough to step in there and provide some juice and a real surge on defense. And obviously Vic Fangio knows him well, and he played very well for Vic before he got hurt. And if Jalen Phillips stays healthy, if he stays healthy for the Eagles, and he's healthy now, then he's going to be a force for them and going to make the defense that much better. And again, if he leaves as a free agent, they'll get back a comp pick. So, maybe costs you a round or two in a draft ahead of 1 year, but in the grand scheme of things, that's worth the roll of the dice.
As expected, A.J. Brown was not traded by the Philadelphia Eagles. But the question is, were there still teams sniffing, and was Howie taking calls from teams sniffing around?
I truly do not believe there was anything there. Could somebody have called and said, hey, is A.J. Brown available? Maybe. Not that I'm aware of. It certainly could have. It doesn't matter. They weren't going to trade him. It wasn't going to happen.
What are the Eagles actually expecting out of Jair Alexander for the remainder of this season?
They gave up a round in the draft. So here's a guy that's gone to the Pro Bowl that at one point has been one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. And I do know, in talking to the Ravens this summer, and this is what's unusual and interesting to me, is that, I remember talking, they're like, our best cornerback has been Jair Alexander. Like, I remember hearing that from a couple of different people over the course of the summer. And then for whatever reason, he didn't play. Why that was, how that happened, I don't know. But he didn't get on the field. Some things happened there, just as they did in Green Bay. And look, based on his history, the chances that something's going to happen, he's not going to get on the field. But there's also the side where the guy's been a great player when he's been out there. So which one are they getting? I don't know. That's up to them. Put him in the system, put him in that environment, put him in that organization, and let's see whether they get the great Alexander for a pick flip or whether whatever happened in Baltimore happens again. And I don't know how that's going to turn out. But here's the thing. If it turns out that it's the Alexander in Baltimore that couldn't get on the field, then it cost you a round from round 6 to 7. So what's the big deal?
Is the chatter, when you talk to people around the NFL, do they see anybody as being head of the class in the NFC? Do they see teams all together? And more importantly, how are the Eagles perceived when you talk to people that aren't Eagles people?
I just think that people feel like this is one of the more wide-open years that the NFL has had in a long time. And you can make an argument for a lot of different teams. Seattle got some people's attention on Sunday night and hasn't gotten the attention it deserves and still doesn't get the attention it deserves. Sam Darnold is an MVP candidate and playing at an incredibly high level. And there's a team with an underrated defense that just added Rashid Shaheed to go along with Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's been the best receiver in the league this season. So Seattle's not getting the attention it deserves. The Rams, Phillies saw the Rams early this season, and the Rams beat them up physically, and the Eagles happened to win the game. You got the Lions, who you know are going to be tough. The Packers, I don't understand what's going on with them right now. They're too inconsistent. The Eagles are there, and the Buccaneers, I still think, are a force. So the NFC, you could look at half dozen teams and say, would you be surprised with any one of these teams coming out of the conference? The answer is no.
What are people around the league saying about the Dallas Cowboys with and I want to start not just yesterday. I want to go back to the previous night when Jerry Jones is talking about I made a trade. Then after the game, he's saying I didn't make a trade. And then all of a sudden they make a marginal move for a linebacker, but then they made the big move for Quinnen Williams. And yet we know that the Cowboys aren't necessarily close.
Well, what's odd to me is if you're going to trade for Quinnen Williams, like he's a great player and he's going to help you for years to come. So you can't argue that. But I would have liked to have seen him get that done 3 weeks ago. I would have liked to see him get that done 2 weeks ago. Why did we wait till trade deadline day? Now, maybe the Jets wouldn't have traded Quinn Williams 3 weeks ago, but they were still winless at that point. So go make your moves. We knew he was going to make a move since the summer when he said after they traded Micah that day, we're not done yet. We're going to make more moves. Well, I would have liked to have seen Quinn Williams in uniform on Monday night in a game they could have used him against Arizona, because now they've lost that game, and now they head into the bye 3-5-1. They don't play again, I believe, till Monday Night Football, a week from Monday, against the Raiders. And so, to me, it's a little late for this season to make that move. 3-5-1.
Listen, man, we appreciate the time. Enjoy your
Good job, Adam.
little break, I guess. Not that your life ever really slows down, but now that the trade deadline is done, you can enjoy the second half of just mainly football the rest of the way.
Thanks, Adam.
Until people start getting fired. Like, that's which is probably a couple of weeks from now.
Well, I'm happy about
Thanks,
that
buddy.
for you. Thanks, Adam Schefter. All right, there's our 5 best minutes of Adam Schefter. Still have no idea how Mike McDaniel will remain the head coach of the Miami Dolphins moving forward, but bad organizations make bad decisions at times, it seems. All right, coming up next, we'll check our text line. I have something Phillies related that I want to get to. But also, Tom Brady did something in his personal life that still Connor Thomas has not heard about. You must live under a rock, but maybe that's a safe space to be. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Unfiltered with Ricky
Winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you've been shopping for that perfect ring, listen closely. This weekend is the time. Benari Jewelers is breaking all the rules with their biggest sale ever on engagement rings and wedding bands. For 3 days only, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you'll save up to 20% on thousands of rings. And it's not just the store's collection. Top designers like Tacori.
Real quick, behind the curtain, we did the Hall of Mays, where I played a lot of the old archives of Harry Mays. So I've kept audio from the 11 years I've worked here at the Fanatic. I hate going back and listening to, like, myself. And I know we do it because it is good for us to get better, right?
Why do you not like it, though?
Well, it's just I don't like hearing myself.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Get in line.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you. But I hated even more some of the old audio that I found from like 8 years ago, and I was like, wow, I thought that was good. Like, think back to when you first started.
Gosh.
And you probably thought, man, that was good. And then maybe you listen back to it, and you're like, oh, God, that was horrible.
I had a boss that was a
stickler? Is that a good word for it?
Let's put it this
FCC
way.
regulated?
No, Scott, what our boss now would tell you, that Mike, who was my PD, who literally launched everything for me, was a screamer and a yeller.
Yeah.
Like nutcase. Not in your face screaming and yelling, but screaming and yelling about everything.
Yeah.
Like just up in arms about everything is a disaster. And you were like literally like shaking.
Yeah, you're afraid to make any mistake at all.
Yes.
All right, couple things. First off, tomorrow's going to be tonight's going to be an interesting night, and tomorrow will be an interesting show, depending on how it looks. So the Sixers have the second game of the back-to-back against an Eastern Conference team that will be one of the top 2 seeds as long as everybody's healthy.
Correct.
In the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? It's going to be them and the New York Knicks, most likely on top of the Eastern Conference. How many texts do you think, just off the top of your head, Connor, have we gotten that have said something to the extent of trade Joel Embiid, get rid of him, or they're better with him off the court?
More the last one. They're better with him off the court.
Sure.
Probably somewhere around 8 to 10.
All right. So
Okay.
tonight, it's a back-to-back. So Joel Embiid is not playing.
Sure.
Right? A lot of people against a good team, even though they won against the Magic, which they're a good team, a lot of people will get a chance to watch that tonight, like what they look like without Joel Embiid. Now, look, second game of a back-to-back, so it's already kind of a difficult task, especially when these guys have been playing 40-plus minutes. But I'm curious what the conversation is tomorrow after maybe a win or after a loss, depending on how it looks. It'll be an interesting
conversation
day.
being you're expecting people to say they like what they see or they don't like what they see.
Well,
or...
if they win...
Well, you can't judge it on tonight, can you? I mean, like,
no, well, for tomorrow's show,
But
yeah.
people will. Though.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
they beat the Cavaliers tonight without Joel Embiid, and it's going to be an up-and-down, faster-paced game, people are going to say that this is what I'm talking about. This is what I want to see.
Okay. And,
now, if they lose, I wonder what the conversation.
Well, I think people would. You'd understand what they like, right? I mean, it's the style of play is, to me, is everything. If you're talking about NBA in early November.
Yeah,
because the NBA is the sport to me that looks completely different when the playoffs start.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to me, I'm just saying, I'm looking for entertainment and style and everything, and the style of play a lot of times is not.
You've been more
intriguing.
entertained recently.
Yes,
I
much
totally
more
get
entertained.
that. We do have one theory, though, that has
What's
not
that?
been brought up yet.
Okay.
Did you guys see the return last night that happened at halftime?
No.
Red Panda was back for the first time since
That's
breaking her
big.
wrist. That's a tough environment for the Sixers to play in a building where the home crowd's that fired up seeing Red Panda come
They're
back.
not asking them to like hold up dishes on a stick.
I love Red
on
Panda.
a unicycle.
I love Red
no,
Panda.
she
God
got
bless
that
her.
crowd fired up, and
Yeah,
the
it
Sixers
was
then
the
were
return,
in a hostile
man.
Oh,
environment.
so you think it was a hostile
Yeah, it's a
environment
tough
because
spot
of
to
Red
play.
Panda?
That's comeback performer of the year type stuff. She had been the major injury last
That was a
year.
scheduled loss.
Red Panda.
All right.
They got a cloner.
So, thank you. You really did not see this Tom Brady stuff?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, so Tom Brady, it comes out yesterday that Tom Brady
Is a
cloned
psychopath?
his dog. So Tom Brady revealed that his current dog, Junie, is a clone of his late dog, Lua, who passed away in December of 2023. The dogs were cloned by Colossal Biosciences, a biotech company that, of course, Tom Brady is an investor in, using blood collected prior to Lua's
It's
death.
Frankenstein stuff. It is. It's the Frankenstein stuff.
I've seen that. They did it. Frankie Weenie.
It freaks me out Like, this stuff freaks me out.
No, it is.
Now, look, science will always continue to evolve, right? Like, there are people that are trying to bring back dinosaurs. Like,
Is that science? Is that science, or is that like when you're bringing back your dog? Is that science or whatever?
Yeah, it's science.
No, but I mean, you're not doing it for science, though.
Well,
Yeah,
he
that's
is
not what
he is an investor. So what if the
What do
dog?
you think? It's alchemy?
Like, if the dog lives 15 great years or whatever the life expectancy is of this dog that he cloned.
You don't believe in souls, then the people who would go is, I want my dog back. Well, then you don't believe in souls.
Well, they did it with a sheep before.
Well, you don't believe right, but you don't believe in souls.
Right, because here's the deal: the soul of that dog, like that dog, this dog could suck. We don't know. This dog could be a vicious dog that just wants to rip everybody's arms off.
And maybe you start messing around with stuff like this, and that's what you get.
But like I get it. Like, look, I have already shed a tear about my dog that I hope is another 7 great years. I love my dog so much, and how she is with my son. Oh, I love her. It will ruin me. I'm telling you right now.
You don't want to
that's
clone
not for
her,
another
though.
7 or 8.
You wouldn't want to clone
I
her.
don't want to clone my dog.
You'd want to have that dog live on in your memories and have another dog that you give love to.
By the way, what if it looks exactly like her, but it's a bad dog?
Correct.
It's gonna harm the memory.
And just reclone.
No, this is stuff that was not meant to be.
So if I reclone the bad dog, then it'll be the good
just
dog.
keep trying.
This is a Stephen King book. I've seen it. Now, it's a different story in Pet Sematary.
Pet Sematary, yeah.
But which, by the way, if you can watch Pet Sematary and not be freaked out, you're nuts, as a parent or otherwise.
By the way,
it's crazy.
Speaking of death,
yes,
nice.
Thanks, nice transition.
Did you guys
there.
hear the clip from Romeo Dobbs?
No.
You guys missed this. Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Guardian Cap, what'd he say?
Yes, Romeo Dobbs, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, who
Okay.
the Eagles will face next Monday.
All right.
He was asked about Tucker Kraft, who unfortunately is done for the season with the injury that he sustained last week.
Which is great. A big loss.
Could clone him.
At one point, drops when he was very emotional for his teammate, his friend. Tucker is in a better place now.
What? He's in a better place now. Is he talking about emotionally?
That's what I'm thinking. It just does not come off
Did it happen?
that way.
Was that right after the game?
No, it happened midweek media availability.
Okay, that's crazy to me.
We need the black and white graphic of
what's
just
he-
that quote.
Like, what's he talking about?
Tucker is in a better place. Look, I feel bad for the guy. He's, major injury, but is it when you say is in a better place? We all think the same thing. We think beyond.
Dude, it's not that. And yes, the injury's terrible. But using terms like that is disgraceful to people who actually deal with life and death.
Dude, you can't be dropping that.
My gosh.
It's a full moon right now. There's some weird stuff going on in the world.
Oh, plenty of it.
Wild. All right.
There was a guy, by the way, this morning on Belmont, near as I come up from the Wawa from Belmont, from the Schuylkill.
Sure.
If I had just been a normal day or if it was raining or everything, I would have hit him.
Oh, okay.
He was walking in the street, just
Interesting.
wandering around, and then walking towards the graveyard to go into the cemetery. And I'm just like, okay, so if it was a dark morning or a morning where you're maybe not paying attention, he was dressed all dark, stumbling around, and I'm going, he was right in my lane to where I had to stop. And it was around probably 2 car lengths away. I'm like, this is crazy. I saw something going, and I'm going, is that a deer?
Are you sure it was a real life human?
Yeah, I think it was. Not thinking it's a zombo or zombie.
Ghost? Yeah, ghost.
No, it wasn't a ghost. It certainly wasn't a ghost.
We're
right.
cloning people. We got zombies and ghosts. What's going on?
All right, last thing, Phillies. So David Schoenfield does a good job for ESPN.
Yes.
Broke down the MLB offseason best fits for top free agents. All right.
I feel like there's a million of these columns out there
Welcome,
right now.
Welcome to the offseason.
Everybody's got.
Cody Bellinger, best fit, Mets. Another possible fit, Yankees.
Okay.
Kyle
So
Schwarber,
the
no
Phillies weren't
Phillies.
on the Cody Bellinger list.
Yep. Kyle Schwarber, best fit, Phillies. Another possible fit, the Mets. How would we react if he went to the Mets?
Dead to me.
What?
Could you imagine?
If the Phillies don't pay him, why would he be dead to you?
Dead to me.
To the Mets. Mets.
If the Phillies don't pay.
Yeah, but I wouldn't give him a standing
Wait a minute.
ovation.
If the Phillies don't pay Kyle Schwarber, you're going to hold it against Kyle Schwarber?
Dead to me.
Go somewhere else. Don't
Yes.
go to New York.
Wow.
28 other teams.
That's strong Mets hate.
There's not 20 other
Connor,
teams
I
going to be paying Kyle Schwarber.
That's his problem.
Ranger, best fit. Tigers, another possible fit. Blue Jays, no mention of the Phillies.
I think Orioles too.
Kyle Tucker, best fit. Dodgers, shocker. Another possible fit. San Fran. Framber Valdez, best fit. Baltimore, another possible fit. Return to Houston. Eugenio Suarez, best fit. The A's, the Sacramento A's. Other possible fits mentions like 10 teams, not the Phillies.
Good.
The only player that is mentioned
as a best fit for the Phillies,
and not even best fit, just another possible fit, is Bregman. He goes best fit for Bregman back to the Boston Red Sox after opting out of the contract.
So old, man. Just, I swear to you, I'm going to hate this offseason.
This offseason's going to.
I'm going to hate this offseason. It's going to.
This offseason's going to be.
It's going to be painful because it's just going to be freaking old. And it's. I love the. There's nothing. There was a great conversation, Connor. I wish that you had been watching. They were having a discussion of people going, well, you can't go away from this player because we don't have anybody better. And it's like, well, you can, and then you can go and you can improve yourself at other positions. And yes, sometimes you don't just sign a contract saying this guy's the best option because the contract sucks. You don't do it. And it was not Real Muto was not the only part of this conversation, but it was just the idea is at some point, yes, the next catcher you get, resolve yourself to the fact it's not going to be JT Real Muto. Not going to be.
Well, you can get a better player in this position or this position.
And you also are not going to be tied to a terrible contract going forward. To old players. It's like at some point you have to cut the cord.
Tell us about life-saving cancer research.
Yeah, I can tell you that Window Nation made a donation to the AACR, and you can too. The American Association for Cancer Research, they do amazing work. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR. I'm living proof that cancer research saves lives.
All right, we have Middays with Marks coming your way next. Again, tomorrow, another day closer to the Eagles-Packers, but it's also the day after the Sixers play a game without Joel Embiid. So I'm curious how the game looks. I'm really because you know they're going to try to push it today. It's all they really can do tonight if the legs are still under them.
And if it's an entertaining game and they win?
We'll see. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. Talk to you tomorrow here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.